teams thinks the Red Sox farm system sucks. And they might not be wrong about that. Like, I don't think the Twins like the password. I don't think they like Garcia. I'm sure they liked Tolli, but I think they got it wrong. They should have loved Tolli. They should have loved him. And they should have recognized in that moment that this offseason they might not get a pitcher of Payton Tolli's quality.
Yeah.
So the Twins effed up. But make no mistake about it, the Red Sox tried to trade Payton Tolli for Joe Ryan.
Remember uncomfortably aggressive? That's what Craig Breslow said.
That's in reference to offering Payton Tolli.
And that was also, he also had later on some teams had to be like, whoa, dude, slow down. Whoa, man, take a chill pill. Which we know.
That went a little far.
Thank you.
Little far.
I get you. I understand, and I do believe that they were willing to offer anybody, and it's good to go into talks not having any untouchable players. Because what was the damning part of Chaim Bloom?
Is that he was a coward.
And he held on to the prospects.
Yep.
Like they were his last parts of his family fortune. He would not part with any of them, and he was so difficult to make deals with, other teams stopped picking up the phone. So if you're Craig Breslow, not only are you going to be aggressive, at least you listen and you're willing to work with other teams. Did it come to fruition? No. And did Payton Tolli work out last night? Yes. We still have to see the long term on him. If they wait, because there was also the part of the passing report, right? It was the inefficiencies of the market. They pride themselves on efficiency and all that, yada, 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 yada. If this team, which is ahead of schedule in a way, of where they are in the race, if they win a playoff series, which is so valuable for the young talent they have, along with the vets and Bregman and Crochet, and will teach them the ropes, right? If they get into the playoffs and win a series, that's ahead of schedule. And then after this offseason, after the fall, in the winter, if they end up adding a Joe Ryan, and all of a sudden the rotation is just like I mapped out, add Joe Ryan. We'll see what Lucas Giolito's future looks like. We'll see what Tolli will be like next year if he's a rotation piece or maybe still work him along, whatever. Then that's a win. And then look at the rotation. Look what it is. What Brian Bayo has been amazing. A guy that they extended. He's been amazing since last season. He is 30 starts, soft contact pitcher, will go out, get you 6-7 innings pitched, which he struggled with to begin the year, then improved himself to get to that. He's consistent. He's a top 3 piece. Crochet is Crochet. He's a Cy Young caliber winning pitcher. Him and Tarek Skubal, that down the stretch.
It's a great Cy Young race. It's awesome.
Oh, my God. I love it. You know what I loved about Tolli last night, too? And you were there in person. I was watching on TV on Nesson. By the way, shout out Tom Karen, TC, 30 years in Nesson. The tribute was great. Awesome dude for me.
Oh, he's the man.
He's someone, quick sidebar about TC. I'm lucky enough I've worked the Bean Pot and Hockey East tournaments with him as play-by-play. And it was my first Bean Pot. We got done with the first Monday. I'm barely sleeping. It's Tuesday. I wake up, and it's a text from TC. Hey, great job last night. Give me a call. And I call him, and he just took – this is also in the middle of, like, Red Sox season. He has a million things going on. He might have been in Florida. Like, he would fly back and forth. He was just like, hey – just my advice, and he poured into me for 25 minutes. I asked him a ton of questions. He took all the time out of his day. That's who he is. He's a mentor. I pride myself on my work ethic. You're a grinder. The way you got here, you're a grinder. Tom Karen, at his age, how much he's accomplished, 30 years at Nesson, he could kick his feet up on the desk, say, no, I'm good. I don't need to do that. He doesn't have to do sidelines anymore. He doesn't have to do college hockey. He doesn't have to do a lot of things he does. He doesn't just work. He doesn't just work hard. He will literally lay it all out there for what he does. He's an institution here, and I know Boston sports fans value him, but he is someone that is one of one in the landscape of sports broadcasting around the country. You could be a national network, a regional sports network. So it was cool to see TC get that tribute last night.
Tom Karen is Nesson.
Yeah.
Simply put, he is that network. He is Nesson. He's the best. He's a legend. Anybody who's ever met TC loves the guy. I love TC. He's the man. And I love Payton Tolli from what I saw last night. That was awesome. What do you make of it? 617-779-0985. It's our buddy Dean in Shrewsbury. Dean, how you doing, man?
Hey, I think we got lucky that we didn't trade Tolli for Ryan. I would have traded Duran to a third team for the prospects needed for it. I did want to trade Tolli for Ryan in the beginning, but I think now, looking back on it, we're lucky we didn't.
Yeah, in the long term, Dean, the Red Sox are going to be very lucky that they did not trade for Ryan. In the short term, though, they're still not. And if I could, even knowing what I know now, George, if I could go back in a time machine and go back to the trading deadline, and if the Twins were willing to make that deal, which they were not, the ball was in the Twins' court, and they walked away from it, I still would have made the deal because Joe Ryan is an all-star pitcher. You hope Payton Tolli turns into Joe Ryan. He very well might turn into Joe Ryan. And you're going to have a cost-controlled young pitcher who's going to be very exciting for the next 6 years here. You might even be able to extend him. He's a huge part of your future. Tolli is going to help them down the stretch, I think. But the fact of the matter is, Ryan would have helped them down the stretch more. And that is the calculation.
Yeah.
You know, you trade somebody like Payton Tolli, and you're giving up an impact arm for the future, but you're getting an impact arm in the present. As good as Tolli was last night, if you had traded him for Joe Ryan, if the Twins were willing to make that deal, you're a better baseball team now. Again, you go back to that game last night, Tolli is going to be limited to 70 to 80 pitches in these outings. So he was really good last night, and he got you into the 6th inning. You might only get 4 innings from Tolli moving forward here. They're going to manage him. If he pulls a hamstring, does anything, has any level of arm soreness, has an oblique that is like, this is kind of sore, they're shutting the guy down. They're shutting him down, and that's that. They're not doing that with Joe Ryan. Ryan would pitch through something. He's a veteran. You know, he's got 2 years left until free agency. He's 29 years old. He's an all-star. That type of thing exists. That's still worth trading somebody like Tolli for because you're getting something in the short term that you're still not going to get this year. But trust me, in the long term, the Red Sox are going to be lucky that deal did not go down. Let's just hope we aren't sitting there in October saying, you know what, man, if you had Joe Ryan over Lucas Giolito, do you go to the World Series type of thing? Like that is the calculation. And I respect Craig Breslow's aggression for being willing to say, I'm willing to give up something to get something, which is an attitude we have not had around these parts, George. And I think that's one of the unnecessary byproducts of the Heim Bloom era is like there was this attitude that you can't give up anything. No, you often have to give up something to get something. The Red Sox still would have gotten something with Joe Ryan, and I think that's undeniable.
Last night was Payton Tolli's first time pitching more than 5 innings since June 22nd. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking, that is a single A start right there. First time since June 22nd. And that's how quick
they've managed him.
Yeah, and that's how quick he's worked his way. For him to get above 80 pitches last night, I was shocked. He's already at a career high in innings pitched in the season. Going back to his college days, this wasn't a blue chip guy. This is a dude that had to earn it when he was in college baseball. Drafted by the Red Sox, great job identifying him. Again, they didn't send him into their farm system right away. They sent him to Florida and developed him. Hey, this is what you're going to have to work with. This is the arsenal. I brought up the broadcast because what jumped out to me with Payton Tolli too, watching it on TV, when he's getting up to 98, 97 with his fastball, and the command was terrific, it looked effortless.
Yeah.
It looked Crochet-esque, where Garrett Crochet, that dude, if he was in an NFL locker room, you'd be like, are you the biggest guy in here? That's how tall he is, and that extension works to his favor. And that's what it felt like with Payton Tolli last night. His release is so far in front of him. He's so good with that. Where it's hitting 98, it doesn't look that fast. But that's how effortless the pitch looks. And it's just gliding, and the batters had no chance last night.
Yeah, they're late. And so I was up in the Monster last night, so pretty much, and down towards the end, so pretty much straight away center field.
A little humble brag, Monster seats.
McCarthy. In the end, yeah, all right.
That was what was that? A Mercedes AMG you rolled in today when I saw you?
Yeah,
in the parking deck?
Exactly. No, you had the fancier car in the parking lot, George. I think that was pretty apparent when I walked in, drove in, saw you down there. Fenway Park take. Love the Monster.
Okay.
For the socializing.
Okay.
My guys Colin and Mike up there are the best. I love it's you have short concession lines. It's easy to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a good experience. It's not the best place to lock into the game because you're up top and you're away from the game. Now, it was a cool spot to watch the game last night because I wanted to be straightaway center so I can see the movement on the pitches. Like if I'm not going to be right behind home plate, which I wasn't going to drop $400 to do, I'll go up there and I'll see the break on the ball. You are so right. It's effortless, and the ball in the end explodes on the guys in the end because they're late on it. They're late on it, and everything has movement with that guy. What an awesome pitching matchup that was. I mean, Skeens being straightaway center to watch him and to see the movement on his pitches is just ridiculous. Guys, Tolli was better than Skeens last night. He was better than him. Now, listen, it's one night in baseball. That was actually one of Skeens' worst starts. Career high, 7 hits last night. That's how good that dude is, which is what makes it so frustrating that the Red Sox did not win that game, because they actually kind of got to Skeens as much as you're going to get to a guy like that. And they still couldn't find a way to win, which I do want to get into coming up here as well. But we take care of you at 617-779-0985. How about George and Malden? Hey, George.
Hi. In the offseason, would you trade Tolli for Ryan?
You're not going to have to.
George, first things first. Great name, my friend.
The best.
But you're not going to have to trade him.
Nope. The Twins would have gotten Tolli at the deadline, because you get more for a player like that at the deadline, because there are a few teams that are involved, and in the end, it's a supply and demand thing. If the Twins ask for Payton Tolli this offseason, the Red Sox can say, sorry, we offered him in July. He's not on the table now. And if you don't want to trade Ryan to us, that's fine. We'll go out and sign another pitcher. We'll go out and engage another team in a trade for a pitcher. The Twins missed out. If I'm in Minnesota today, I'm having a conniption. Knowing that they're trading Ryan in the offseason, I'm having a conniption that they're not getting Payton Tolli. That's woof. Bad look for them. They traded everybody on that roster, and yet that was the one guy you really could have gotten. The big dude, the horse, the hoss, who goes out there and throws 99, to your point, and it's effortless, George. You could have had him, and you didn't have him. And you're not going to get him. Not going to get him now.
You get to the winter. Yes, you can. They'll re-engage in trade talks for Joe Ryan, or you call Zach Gallen's agent. Mm-hmm. Now that'd be free agency, but you don't have to give up prospects.
More options.
Exactly. That's what it is. There's less options at the trade deadline, especially when you're calling a team 15 minutes before the window closes. Like, what more leverage would the Twins have than right there and then? And the Red Sox couldn't get it done. The Twins didn't want to get it done. There's also someone that tweeted at me. I'm trying to make sense of this. Joe Ryan was on the market and no buyers. Learn the game. The buyers were the Red Sox. Joe Ryan was on the market, so we thought the Twins didn't want to trade him.
The Phillies called.
Yeah.
Phillies called after the Red Sox traded for Dustin May.
Yeah.
So, because that's Dave Dombrowski. And in the end, the Twins said, no, we're not trading him. We're going to trade him in the offseason. So you're right, no buyers, because the Twins, in the end, would not sell. They strung the Red Sox along, probably because Breslow humiliated them publicly with comments made around the All-Star break, because the Red Sox thought they had a deal done, I think, with the Twins for Ryan in the middle of July, and then the Twins backed off. Breslow called them out publicly. You remember the comments like, oh, if you spend 4 or 5 days working on something and it turns out that team's not really willing to trade that player, then you could have spent 4 or 5 days on something else. That was a shot at the Twins.
Just sometimes don't. Say that behind closed doors. Like, why the subtweets? You know, why? Like, yes. But you're right. That was a comment about the Twins. And Craig Breslow's still learning. You could be good at identifying talent. You could be good at sign. Oh, he's doing a good job as a GM. Say less.
And I think the Twins said, oh,
okay.
You can spend 4 or 5 days now. Tell you what, why don't we re-engage around the deadline and let's string you along? That'll teach you a lesson. I think, it was the interpersonal stuff that burned Breslow. It was not the baseball decision stuff. He identified the right guy. Joe Ryan's the right guy. He identified the most valuable piece that he had in Payton Tolli and put him in the deal at the end, thinking that was going to get the deal done. He couldn't read the fact that the Twins didn't want to trade him. Simply put. 617-779-0985. I see on the phone lines. We also need to get to the things that went wrong last night. There was a lot of good. Payton Tolli was awesome. There were things that went wrong. We'll do that next.
Boston's home for sports.
But last night was, and what it will be for Payton Tolli's next start and the start after, there has to be patience. He had a fantastic debut. He looked great. His top velocity clocked 99.2 miles per hour, 0.2 behind Paul Skeens, who had 99.4, according to Baseball Savant. His debut went better than expected. He was dominant. His command was there. He was fanning major league batters, and their timing was so off they weren't ready for him. And he was in command, and he looked composed, poised. The moment wasn't bigger than him. They sent him back out in the sixth. It did get away from him. But what Cora said in there is what's so important. He has to get used to it eventually. That's what last night was. You want to win the game. You don't want to throw anything away. It's short-term versus long-term. The urgency was the short-term. Criswell, Fitz down. Bueller released. They need Payton Tolli to step up. Long-term, eventually, you're going to be the Haas that we have. That's our ace. We're going to need 90, 95, 100 pitches out of you. Time to learn now.
They got it wrong. Cora got it wrong. And I heard from a lot of people leaving Fenway last night.
But it's Greg Weissert coming in after him.
Okay, so
there's that risk and reward. I understand getting it wrong, but it's not like you had a sure thing. Did you have Whitlock, Chapman ready to go? Eventually you did. But do you have those guys locked in and ready? It was Greg Weissert following. There's a risk, and then there's the safety. There's a floor and the ceiling. They went with the ceiling, and I can't knock the manager for that because they're going to ask the same thing out of him in a month, Matt.
No, they're not going to ask the same thing out of him in a month because they're going to manage him. I think they got away from it a little bit. I know they said they had a number in mind. The number was 70 to 80 pitches. He was at roughly 70 pitches entering that sixth inning when he struck out the nine-hitter because it was the top of the order. When he struck out the nine-hitter to end the fifth, you got third time through coming up. I turned to Alex Barth and I said, what an outing. Great outing for the kid. They're not going to him for the sixth. And then I looked down and I said, boy, they don't have any action here. I didn't like it in the moment because the kid already gave you so much in his first outing in the major leagues. It's then the time to ask your veteran big league pitchers to deliver in the moment. Weissert sucked last night. What Weissert did, he came in, he gave up 2 rockets right away. I'm not in the business of defending Greg Weissert. I'm not. I wonder if it would have gone a little bit differently if he came in a clean inning, not with runners on first and second. Cora, after the game, says, well, a ground ball got through. Yeah, a ground ball did get through. It was just, hit in between third and short, and it was not hit all that hard, which put the runners on first and second, and then Pham comes up in the righty, and they're not gonna let Tolli face the righty again. McCutchen had gotten him already in that game. Pham hits lefties. They were not going to go beyond that inning, beyond those 3 batters with Tolli. They should have gone to Weissert in the first place because this guy has not thrown many innings at all this year. You saw it in the 6th inning. The first thing he does is he comes out and he walks the first batter on 5 pitches, 4 pitches, something like that. I mean, it was a non-competitive at bat, and you're saying, uh-oh, here we go.
Yeah.
For somebody that they were hoping to get, I think, 4 innings out of last night, they pushed it too much. They pushed it a little bit too much with the kid. Weissert still should have gotten out of the inning. I don't put any of that on Payton Tolli. I don't. I just think the manager pushed it too far with his young pitcher, and he screwed that situation up. I think they got it wrong.
But if you didn't have Whitlock, Matz, or If you didn't have Whitlock or Steve Matsko the night before, then yes.
Whitlock was up in the 8th inning, though. They were ready to go back. They were going to put him in the game, so he was available.
See the different levels of urgency. But again, I'm going with the long term. They got it right because whatever he'll be come late September, October, it'll be a long-term out-getter at some point. And he is going to have to push himself. So that's why I think he got it right. What better time than now? Against one of the worst offenses in baseball. It's a Friday night. This ballpark's on top of you. They're celebrating you. They still gave him that standing O, which deserved.
No doubt.
Electric seeing that moment from him. The manager got it right because there is where you're going by, the situation, the pitch count, all of this, what he's been. But what Alex Cora does is the feel for the game. And look, good or bad.
They got the feel for the game wrong because the pitcher came out and had a non-competitive at bat and walked the first hitter.
But good or bad, that kid's going to learn. And this team is bigger than losing or beating the Pirates on one Friday night. And I'm not selling away any game because it's so important where they are in the standings. But this is a guy they are going. This is what they showed by bringing him up in August. They are going to count on him in September and October when baseball matters the most. So you have to learn now. If not now, then when?
Yeah, at the first sign of trouble, they'll shut him down, though. So, like, they are
But the
still
trouble
going to
wasn't,
manage
it wasn't
him.
injury. It was, to your point, a non-competitive at-bat. But they're not going to shut him down because of that. But yes, the first sign of trouble. And you know what? He had that calculation for Cora. Between 70 to 85 pitches, right where he got to. Where they trust him, his build, he'll be okay. To me, it was more of go out there. It's baptism by the fire. It is the same thing when, and that's what I love about being in Boston, Matt, because we don't sugarcoat it. We'll be critical every game. You are, when you're on the baseball hour with Tony Maz, you guys do a great job. Every single game is ride or die.
Yep.
And that's what I love about Boston. I lived in the Midwest for a few years. Great people out there. They're soft. They don't want to be critical of their teams. In Boston, we are. So I get that, but it's also part of it too where it's the way we're on Jason Tatum when he misses a game-winning shot in early November, where I love the miss because he tried something and it'll work in June, right? That's what it was last night. They tried something in late August against a team they should have beat because Weiser should have been better.
Oh, God.
So Cora said, I will take the risk with Tolli. Didn't work out. I have this major league relief pitcher. He'll get us out of the jam. And he was getting shelled. Weiser didn't step up. I like what Cora did because it's baptism by the fire.
Yeah, so your point is totally right that in the big picture, last night is a great moment for the Red Sox. And in the big picture, a young pitcher is going to learn from that. I have no doubt that Payton Tolli is going to learn from that because it felt like he knew that was his last inning. He got a little bit too amped up. I mean, that was the worst at bat he had. Who was the leadoff hitter last night for Pittsburgh? It doesn't matter because it's the Pittsburgh Pirates. But third time through, Tolli goes out non-competitive at bat, which sets the tone for the
Jared
entire.
Jared
Triolo, Gold Glover last year.
Yeah,
I kind of know that name. I was actually surprised. I turned to Barth and I said, I can name 5 Pittsburgh Pirates. What an accomplishment!
I think you need help.
Yeah, no kidding. That's not a good thing. I'm not bragging about that. That's actually a sign of a sickness. Name a Pittsburgh Pirate, 617-779-0985. I just think in the short term, though, the manager got the decision wrong. But holy crap, Greg Weissert, dude, you can't do that. Against Tommy Pham and the corpse of Andrew McCutchen, who actually had a really nice night last night. Totally talked a little bit. He was obviously talking about McCutchen in kind of like a pinch yourself moment, like, oh, I've watched this guy. McCutchen got Tolli in the first at bat. Then Tolli walked him in the second at bat because he was, not to say a little rattled, that's too strong, but you could tell it's like the presence of Andrew McCutchen in the box affected him a little bit because he was aggressive in the first at bat, veteran guy, got a young pitcher, and then Tolli kind of worked around him in the second at bat because he's like, oh crap, that's Andrew McCutchen. So they weren't going to let him face him, the third time through. But Greg Weissert should get out Andrew McCutchen at this point in McCutchen's career, and McCutchen hit a rocket off him. Tommy Pham hit a rocket off him. The Red Sox have a problem. They have a problem in that bullpen, George, and it showed itself last night with the righties, which we'll get to. It's 617-779-0985. But to you, how about Ron in Medford? Hey, Ron.
I agree with you, Matt. They should have got him out of there. I mean, 99% of every analytical guy in town would have been screaming for him to get out of there. Now, all of a sudden, Cora's got plays. He goes with a feel for the game. What feel? I mean, you didn't send a runner from third base because they discussed it before the game. They weren't going to challenge this guy's arm if the ball wasn't hit far enough. I mean, they should have got him out of there. A great 5 innings and. Baptism by fire. Look, the last thing in the world you want to do is start dropping games to the Pirates. And all of a sudden, just I don't know. If they got him out of there and they had Whitlock ready rather than this other bum, maybe the kid gets his first win.
Yeah, they were saving Whitlock for the 8th. The problem is that Cora knows he has one righty in the bullpen, and it's Whitlock. But Weissert's your number 2 guy right now. You got to trust him in that spot. Or you go to one of your lefties who's actually pretty good. You go to Wilson there in the 6th. You go to Matz in the 6th. And then you set up. Basically, they wanted Weissert for Pham and McCutchen because those are the righties. So, yeah, they screwed that thing up.
Let me ask you, so best case scenario, and I'll ask Ron too. I know we hung up on him. Hopefully he's still listening. Ron, I love the call. But let me ask both you guys. Best case scenario in October, what is Payton Tolli?
He's working out of the bullpen for you because in the end you go 3 deep in your rotation, and you're probably going bullpen game 4. Like, because that's the way baseball works right now at this point. Like, you're
Outgetters.
you're using Tolli in like a inning to an inning and a half spurt is what they're doing.
I think
they're not going to try to extend him.
I think they will a little more than that, but I'm not saying they're going to have him go and go 5 innings of relief. Completely different approach as a pitcher altogether. But in best case scenario, what would that be? That would be a game 4 in a playoff series in a high leverage situation where, again, Alex Cora sends him back out there going, okay, I have Weissert up, who I'm going to warm up. Like, he was not eyeing Whitlock at all. Didn't feel he had to use him. Where he's going, I have these guys that have been on this team in these situations against a bad lineup. If the kid doesn't work out, I'm going to pull him and these guys will get the job done. And that's what it was. So that's what I'm talking about, where it's a baptism by the fire, where he went 5 innings, but it's also Cora going, this is still a big situation. It's a tight game. It's close. You are about to see the top of the lineup again.
Yep.
These are the tests that matter now, where they didn't kitty glove him. They brought him up. It's urgent. They need to win. So now let's see. Next start for Tolli. Now let's see in October how he pans out. And that is the part of where I get the analytics guy and I get the nine and I understand everything. But there's a feel for the game and the feel for the player. And Cora goes, let me see what this kid has.
I don't want to use the analytics. Like, if you're saying use the analytics to take Tolli out, I'm out on that. So I like that Cora went feel for the game. I just think his feel for the game was wrong in that spot.
Calculation.
Like, I don't, the analytics would say third time through, and no, don't.
I agree with the
talk to
third
me-
time through thing, though, because that does make sense, especially for a rookie. And for him to push it, too, at that point.
What I think makes more sense is the fact that the guy has only thrown 4 and 5 innings going back for the last 2 months. Like, you extended him beyond where he's normally gone, and you did that at the big league level. That, to me, was the mistake. Trial by fire. You said so. I want to get into
baptism by the
baptism by fire.
One of my favorite sayings.
He had those moments earlier in the game. So had he already proven that? We'll get into that. 617-779-0985. I see on the line. We'll take care of you. Did Alex Cora get it wrong last night by not pulling Tolli after the 5th? Did Alex Cora get it wrong by not keeping Tolli in to face Pham and McCutcheon a third time through instead of going to that bum Greg Weissert? Because that should have been illegal, what Greg Weissert did last night. Charge him. That's criminal, what he did. 2 rockets right away.
It's assault, brother.
To take a giant crap all over the vibes last night. What a deflating moment. Weissert, you bum. We'll continue. It's Matt McCarthy and George Balekji here on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The
kept the game.
It's like it's an all-star game, Like, go out one more time.
It was the wrong decision from Cora, because he pushed Tolli beyond where he's been. Again, let's just take a look at the game logs. Let's go back. Let's just work the last 2 months. Let's be fair. In Portland, July 4th, 4 innings. 5 innings on July 10th. 4 innings on July 19th. 5 innings on July 26th. In the month of August, for Portland, 4 innings. Then 3 starts in Worcester. 5 innings, 5 innings, 5 innings. Last night, the Red Sox pushed him into a 6th inning at the big league level, something he has not done in over 2 months, something he has only done in his professional life. Let me count this up. 2 times, both for high single-A Greenville.
Yep.
They went too far with him. You did mention baptism by fire. Didn't he have those moments earlier in the game? The 2nd inning was baptism by fire. 2nd and 3rd, no outs, and he gets out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel that was the moment to try to prove something with Cora. I think he got it wrong.
It's where it's different scenarios and what you're going to come into. I mean, the beauty of baseball is, like, literally you'll never see the same thing twice.
I know. It's awesome.
Ever. It's like a snowflake. No two are ever the same. No games, no situations. So, yes, he had that trial by the fire where stuff was going sideways, had to get himself out of jams. His velocity and his command was there. His composure, too. I mean, the defense having his back as well. It's different scenarios, and he's going to see something similar. And that's just what I go back to of, if this kid, who's not even 23 years old, is going to help the Red Sox for what fans want, and it's not winning games against the Pirates in August, it's leading to wins in the playoffs in September and October, you need to prepare him mentally for this type of stuff, because this is his only year, which, just think about that too. This is his only year of pitching professional baseball. He was drafted last year. They sent him to Florida. They worked on his arsenal. He didn't pitch any single-A, nothing. And then he worked his way up through the system all throughout this season, and he's already at Major League Baseball. That trajectory and that fast track's insane. It was the same thing we heralded for Christian Campbell. Just a few years removed from college and how quick he got to Major League level. And that's what Tolli did this year. That's where I'm just big on where the development of it's mental, and we can't get away from that. Because there's nothing harder in sports, in my opinion, than pitching. When you succeed, everyone sees it. And when you fail by the smallest margin, everyone sees it, and it's all your fault. What did Crochet say? What was the pitching matchup? He's like, according to Fox Sports, I was the worst pitcher out there, but I missed on 2 pitches, and then he recovered. And that's what it is. So that's why I don't disagree with him going back out there. And again, that is a manager going, who do I have behind him?
Yep.
All right, you guys are the professionals. He's a prospect. You're the professional. Have his back. Weiser didn't have his back.
So, in that sense, did Cora get it wrong by not sticking with Tolli longer?
Oh.
Given that Weissert came in and lit the game on fire.
No, because you have it right where you saw the first at-bat and you knew he just didn't have it. And that's where you yank him quick, and that's what's smart. Because again, with pitching, when you make the mistakes, everyone sees it. You can tell right away when a pitcher has it or doesn't have it.
Yeah, they definitely, once he started that inning, the plan was to get him to Pham, and he was not going to face Pham. To your point, like, he did not look good at the beginning of that inning. And trust me, Weissert started working a lot faster after that first at bat. Yeah. You're like, all right, he's coming in because if we get to Pham, that's it. He's not completing this inning. They're not going to let him face Pham, who hits lefties. They're certainly not going to let him face McCutchen, who had his number last night. You could tell the McCutchen matchup did affect Tolli a little bit. They were not going to get that far. So I agree with you on that was the right moment to pull him out based on the decision that had been made at the beginning of the inning, but they never should have gone back to him for the 6th.
Was the pen empty going into the 6th? There's no action, or was Weissert starting to warm up?
I think he was kind of milling around, but he really started to work after that. Actually, once he got to the 3-0 count, you could tell they had made the call. So Weissert was kind of standing around, but he was not really pitching at that point.
To your point then, again, feel for the game.
Yep.
You don't have him just messing around. Get loose. No. Hey, Tolli's going back out. We're going to see what he has in the 6th. Weissert, start moving.
So
get ready. Like, we're going to give him We're going to give him a batter, and we'll see.
He should have been gone probably after the first batter, because that was he did not look himself. He was not himself in that inning. Now, the ground ball that got through with Reynolds, that was not all that hard hit. It just found the hole.
Yeah, it's baseball.
Yeah, Cora screwed up in 2 senses. He shouldn't have sent him back out there for the start of the 6th, and he should have had Weissert ready to go after that, I think it was a 5-pitch walk. I'd have to go back and look at it, but he was not competitive in the leadoff hitter. I'm drawing a blank on his name. The guy who won the utility Gold Glove last year.
You know he's a Gold Glover, but you're blank on his name.
Because he plays for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'll give you that. Hey, Chris is in Pittsburgh. What's up, Chris?
Hey, good morning, guys.
How you doing?
Red Sox fan in Pittsburgh. I understand the enthusiasm. The kid's an absolute unit. Lefty, insane control, competing like nuts inside the zone. Love all that. But you need to keep in mind, he faced 2 big league hitters last night.
Yep.
And I've seen Skeens. I go to Pirate games when Skeens pitches. I've seen him up close. Skeens faced a really great Major League Baseball offense last night. And a few of those hits were swinging bunts down third base that Falefa kind of didn't make plays on. I just think that you need to get a couple more starts with this kid facing an actual major league lineup, because what he saw last night is not that.
It's the worst offense in baseball, to Chris's point, and that is what makes Greg Weisert's flamethrower of a performance last night even more offensive to me. You can't do that against that line. Like, oh well, they're bringing in Weissert to face Pham and McCutchen. I'm talking about them like they're Ruth and Gehrig. It's Pham and McCutchen. It's Andrew McCutchen in the year 2025. You look up at the lineup and you're like, these guys, sitting next to Alex Barth last night, he's like, Tommy Pham's still in the big leagues. Huh?
The classic.
Damn right he is. Yeah,
I know.
Hits lefties. Damn right he is.
Fighting his teammates over fantasy football beefs or whatever that was. Quick sidebar, and this isn't a hot take. I'm not the only person to say this. Just shame on the Pittsburgh Pirates to have a 4A team when you have Paul Skeens and O'Neill Cruz. And one of the best ballparks in all of baseball.
PNC is amazing.
And when we're talking about how Payton Tolli was kind of starstruck by Andrew McCutchen, I love seeing him back in Pittsburgh. Like, that's a guy we grew up watching. One of the best players in baseball when he was at his peak. And it's also a team in the Pirates. It just doesn't make sense now how bad they are, because they were always competitive when we were coming up. So look at them now.
So Paul Skeens, baseball needs to intervene. They need to get him out of there.
Yeah.
That organization is an embarrassment. Skeens was not his best last night. Again, tied a career high in 7 hits given up, which is crazy. That 7 hits is his career high for hits given up in a game. I mean, that's ridiculous. But the Pirates screwed him. Bad plays in the field. They were a mess. The only guy who really got him last night was Roman Anthony.
Yeah.
We get into that at bat.
We haven't even spoken about that yet. How sweet of a swing.
Oh, my God.
No doubter off the bat, but that is just one where you go down for it. He knew. The second left Skeens' hands, like, you could just see the confidence behind Roman Anthony. But what a chef's kiss swing. Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful. So
408 feet, too, to right.
Anthony's command of the strike zone is next level for a 10-year big league veteran. He's 21 years old. Mm-hmm. Like, you almost look at him now. There's a moment last night, talking with some people in the stands, and we're talking about I don't know, just like approach, and it's like I was talking about Anthony like he was a veteran, and I had to remind myself that he was 21. He's ridiculous. He's that good. I've been saying it for weeks now. We have offended Roman Anthony by putting him in the same category as Marcelo Meyer and Christian Campbell. Like the big 3. No, it's the big 1. That dude is next level. It is special stuff. The swing that he put on that ball, and the reason why that home run happens is because he has commanded the strike zone in the first place. He gets up 3-0. Skeens comes back.
Yeah, full count.
3-1. He beats him on the 3-1 pitch. And then he comes in the zone because he thinks he's going to try to get one by Anthony. Anthony's hunting fastball and turns around at Kyle. Dude.
There's a legitimate chance, in my personal opinion, that within the next, 2 years, he becomes the face of all Boston sports. Over Tatum, over May, over Jalen, and anyone you name, any athlete.
I was saw Jim Murray tweet this out. Of course, Jim is the world's biggest Drake May supporter.
Over a quarterback, guys?
Yes.
Over a quarterback that could be.
I think he's that good.
Top 5 in the league.
He's that good.
I think he's that good.
Okay, but here's the thing, George. You think Drake May can be a top 5 quarterback?
Yes.
I'm not convinced.
Because he's played not even 12 games.
Okay, Roman Anthony's basically played 12 games. He's way better. And I get it. We're crossing sports, which
no, we're crossing sports. Let's cross sports. Let's cross sports. Damn that rule. You can't do it. Respect to Felger. They play the equivalent of 12 games each.
Yeah.
They're both in their rookie. Well, Drake May's entering year 2. For the glimpse we have for Drake May's makeup, and Roman Anthony can be one of the best hitters in baseball. I am not going away from that. Drake May's a quarterback. It's football. It's year-round. It's every day of the week. It's every holiday. In your face, jam it down your throat. And this kid is with a team and a franchise that the NFL does want to succeed. With Mike Vrabel, who everyone is shoving down our throat. Because you know all the Vrabel stories. A quarterback, guys, that could be top 5 with his legs and his arm.
You're ignoring the fact that Roman Anthony is so much better in his sport than Drake May is in his.
I'm not going to argue that.
Okay, Roman Anthony.
I'm projecting.
Roman Anthony is having an impact on the Red Sox right now and winning that Drake May did not have last year. I get it. Bad situation. I understand it. All right. Roman Anthony is so much better at this age and at this stage of his career than Drake May is in his.
1,000%. 100%. But it's not your big. What did you say, Kyle? In the next, how long?
I said like 2-3 years.
Okay.
But Kyle,
in the next 2-3 years, Roman Anthony will get better. Drake May will get better.
You're working under the assumption. Sorry, go ahead, Kyle.
But the reason that I also say this is look at their 2 respective standing, or the team standing when they came to the major league or got drafted. Crossing sports again. But Drake May wasn't able to have a direct impact on wins when it came to the Patriots.
Correct.
Roman Anthony has not only filled the gap that the Red Sox created when they traded Rafael Devers, but has been a better bat than Rafael Devers, if you want to compare it as the team when Devers was on versus the team when Anthony was on.
Correct.
Anthony has been a better bat than Devers. He's 21.
Yeah.
He's had a direct implication on this team making the turnaround and now in a run for the division title. Drake May hasn't done anything besides go 1-9.
It's fair to hold the win-loss record against Drake May in some senses. The Patriots won 4 games last year. Drake May played 1 of them. So I get it.
With the worst offensive line, the worst receiving room.
But that doesn't change.
A defense that wasn't healthy and had a first-year play caller. With literally the worst coach team. I'm bringing in the Matt Patricia, Joe Judge running the offense failed experiment by Bill Belichick. I'm bringing in so many things. You would see a more fine-tuned football team if you went to Watertown High and watched their JV game on a Thursday night.
That would be operation, I can tell you.
That would be more well executed than what the Patriots had last season. I understand the wins and losses, and he's a quarterback. And people say wins and losses aren't a quarterback stat. What does he do in clutch time?
They are.
It is. I'm projecting forward. And I'm just saying, before we go, Roman Anthony could be. And you say over everyone else, he's a quarterback, guys.
I understand. But there's a bust potential with Drake May.
100%. Is there not a bust potential with Roman Anthony?
I don't think
there
at this
isn't.
point.
There isn't.
It is minuscule.
Okay.
There's a bust potential with any young athlete, period, end of story. Roman Anthony is as close to a sure thing as you ever see in any sport, period, end of story. That guy's that good. Drake May isn't that. Drake May's not that.
And what backs up Roman Anthony? Number 1 prospect in all of baseball, right?
Correct.
That not just
Drake
the Sox.
Drake May's not even the number 1 prospect in his own draft class. He was the number 3 prospect.
The number 3 prospect.
Jaden Daniels is so much better than him right now.
Jaden Daniels had 40 more games under his belt in college.
Roman Anthony's
2 to 3 more years.
Baseball.
He had 2 to 3 more years of starting in college. Jaden Daniels. Roman Anthony drafted 18, put in the system from that point on.
Yep.
He played. I believe he played over. Oh man, all right. I want to get it right, so I don't want to just throw out the number. But he had over 300 innings of baseball under his belt in the Sox system before he got called up. That's a lot.
It actually really isn't by baseball standards.
But it's the normal metric of when prospects are brought up, though. Yeah, not in major league standards. Obviously, 162 games is different what they play in the minor league level. Drake May is about to enter, again, different offensive coordinator as it's been since his sophomore year at UNC. And this is his 3rd year starting. And this is actually his first full year starting since his final season at UNC.
I get it. I understand it. Drake May was brought into a bad situation. I would also argue that the Red Sox have been a dumpster fire for years, so it's not like Roman Anthony walked into a well-oiled organization.
That I won't disagree. That's the thing, too. And the situation, I hated it. No, I didn't hate it when Roman Anthony was called up. I hated the situation he was put in because, again, I wanted more. Where the urgency we saw to trade Rafael Devers, but the lack of urgency to get better bats within that lineup. And you bring up Roman Anthony, I go, it's so unfair what people expected this kid for him to have to be the savior. Where I said he shouldn't be. And he's been that.
He's the savior. Whereas Drake May needs to be the savior and was not the savior. You know what my takeaway from this is, Kyle? And this is totally fine. And George, let me know if I'm wrong. You're just a big Drake May guy, which is fine.
Yes.
I think you're just ignoring some of the warning signs with Drake May. And I like Drake May, but I don't love Drake May. I just think you're a guy who loves Drake May.
In the next 2 years, Drake May will be the face of Boston sports. And it comes with the position. Will Roman Anthony be the face of the Boston Red Sox? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And will he be one of the premier faces in baseball? Yes, especially if Boston is winning. In the next 2 to 3 years, and you know what the most damning part is, though? Where we just talked about Roman Anthony and Drake May, we're all making the argument. Jason Tatum will be fine with not being the face. And it's like, brother, you're an NBA champion. You're a MVP caliber player, top 5 in the league, and he's just not the face of Boston sports.
It's a quarterback thing, and I get that. I think it's totally
It's a personality thing, too. That's why I'm saying Tatum would not be the face. I have more confidence in Anthony or Drake May being the face because of their personalities.
Yeah. I would also say that if Mac Jones had been successful, he would have been the face, like to your point, the face of Boston sport, because the quarterback thing does matter. Oh, but
thank God it's not Mac Jones.
Roman Anthony is so much more impressive in his sport than Drake May is in his.
You're a Roman Anthony guy.
Everybody's a Roman Anthony guy. This does not make me unique. Like, being a Drake May guy still can be unique because there are questions about him. There are no questions about Roman Anthony. That guy's a stud. 617-779-0985. We continue. Matt McCarthy, George Balekji on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Oh, it's great.
Where you have the ace prospect, your number one prospect now, because Roman Anthony was up. Payton Tolli's dad talking. When the other number one prospect, your best hitter, your best pitcher's pitching that night, your best hitter just cranks one off of Paul Skeens.
And you were generally unmoved by it because you like Drake May so much that you're blinded by your Drake May love that you can't acknowledge that Roman Anthony is so much better now than Drake May.
100%. Every Roman Anthony dinger, I'm just like,
whatever.
It's not a touchdown.
It's not Drake.
It's not him executing an RPO in the red zone to Kyle. Yeah, that's exactly what I think.
Yeah, totally.
That was such his home runs and his command of the strike zone, to your point, and his eye is so impressive. But it's the beauty of Tolli going out, doing what he's doing, 98, 97, fanning batters. I'm just talking first inning. And then it goes to Paul Skeens, and he's hurling 100 miles per hour. And I'm just watching and go, this is what baseball needs. It wasn't, Brian Bayo against Paul Skeens, where you have like a soft contact pitcher against going a guy with velo. No, it's just hurling it, fastball, location command, working quick. And these big dudes that are overpowering batters, if it's not going to be a lot of runs, it's these dominant pitching matchups. That was so important for baseball last night.
It was a great baseball game.
And then Roman Anthony goes yard.
It was a great experience. That was the highlight of the night, if you ask me. I mean, I don't know. Pick the highlight of the night. Is it Tolli? Is it Roman Anthony? Oh, by the way, they lost because, at least in my opinion, the manager screwed up. But I'm telling you, George, baseball's back. Baseball's back in this town in a big way. You can, Mr. Nesson over here. How about your Nesson ratings? Up 46% this year on Red Sox game. You see that, Kyle, the other day? Nesson ratings up 46%. As somebody who follows the radio stuff, Red Sox games are doing well on the radio. People are engaging with Red Sox games. That was the most electric environment I've been to at Fenway in the last 4 years. People were locked into that game. Nobody left that game. I couldn't walk over. I park over in Brookline. Do you know how long it took me to get to my car last night? Because I couldn't get down from my fancy seats upstairs. I couldn't get down onto Jersey Street and onto Brookline Ave. Do you know how long it took me? Because nobody left that game last night. Nobody. It was awesome. Baseball's back, man. It's back.
And that's the best thing of where no one's rushing out to get out of that building. When the baseball matters in Fenway Park,
that's awesome.
You obviously feel the history and just the life of that ballpark. It's a cathedral of baseball. It's one of the best sports venues. I've gone to Lambeau Field for football games. Absolutely beautiful. The same thing you get in Lambeau, you get with Fenway Park and other old buildings. It shakes. Literally when big plays happen, like the 2021 wildcard game I was in, when Aaron Judge got thrown out at home plate by a mile, the building was shaking. That run, the wins against the Rays, the wins against the Astros, the building was shaking, right? That's what you get last night, and that's what adds to it of what we saw last night in that glimpse. It was a tight game. It was close. You obviously wish it was a better opponent. It was Tolli making the debut. It's Roman Anthony with that home run. Dude, that just again, what you say, he goes up 3-0, Skeens battles back, but Roman Anthony gets a win in the at-bat, and not just wins it to get on base, just launches one into deep right field. That just a beautiful moment, and that's what the Red Sox, they've been building up for. It's been nothing but disappointment the last 3 seasons. There's something now.
A lot to get to with that game last night, and we go to you. How about Leo in the car? What's up, Leo?
Hey, man, how about you? I don't start him in the 6th. I let Wazet, who I think's being overused this year, I don't really like him right now, or Slayton start a clean inning. But if you got 2 guys on, you definitely go to Wilson, high leverage guy. And I don't understand, after the first guy get on, that Bailey goes out to the mound. What's he telling the kid? What I would have told him, what Middlebrook said during the broadcast, get back to your fastball, kid. You got this last guy. They're going to beat you. They better beat you with that 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, the fastball velocity you had mentioned, Kyle, was dipping a little bit. I didn't notice that as much, live. What Bailey was saying is, this is your last hitter, go get him, kid, type of thing. That was more of a pump him up pep talk thing more than anything else. They were not going to go. You said bring in Wilson for Pham and McCutchen. They're not doing that because Wilson's a lefty. You want a righty for Pham who hits lefties. You want a righty for McCutchen, which gets to the issue, George. There were 2 primary issues that came out of that game last night. Number one is the middle of the Red Sox lineup. Bregman, Duran, and Story were worthless in that game. Worthless. They lack a middle-of-the-order bat. We obviously know they traded a middle-of-the-order bat that's an issue. The second issue.
That's where the Josh Naylor conversation comes again. Is that the most overpowering middle order bat? But that's a professional vet hitter you can use.
No doubt. The Red Sox did not get another hitter at the deadline, and they needed one. They also didn't get a second righty in that bullpen. Greg Weissert ain't the answer, folks. And Justin Slayton, I'm concerned about. That was my biggest concern coming out of the game after being there in person last night. He did not look good. And the reports from his rehab were not great. So where are they going to find a second righty, George? I don't know right now.
It's like someone rehabbing down in AAA Worcester. Like that's where, again, also where the additions of a Steve Matson and Dustin May, the lack of an actual quality addition. And a Joe Ryan, to your point. Because we could be so excited about Tolli. Does it pan out? Where you go, I think he'll be out of the pen, which I agree with in the postseason. That's why you need the starting pitching to help out this pen. It is obviously with Houck going down, Richard Fitz, Hunter Dobbins, Cooper Criswell, all these injuries mounting up. The lack of a Walker Buehler panning out, even him in the pen. And that's where, again, I will continue to go back to the end of July because that does matter. Dropping the ball at the trade deadline when this team has been this big of a disappointment the last 3 seasons. Everything's amplified because the standard here in Boston is higher. There are a few cities around the country when it comes to sports that always have their standard and just don't take mediocrity as an exception. Boston is one of those. It is, you have to not just be in the playoffs, you have to be contending and winning. And that's where there is a lack of an addition. Like Steve Matz, okay. Dustin May, that doesn't answer anything. The fact that we're doing all this rotation talk and playoff talk, we haven't brought up Dustin May. That says what he is.
So I have a thought on what the Red Sox need to do with Dustin May. I want to get to that. The Buehler thing, which you just mentioned, to me is fascinating. Where the hell did that thing come from yesterday? I'm shocked they released him. What led to that? Because maybe I'm just a guy who loves Walker Buehler. And I was supportive of that trade, of that signing this offseason. I don't know why they got him. I don't. Something happened. Is it the money? What the hell happened there? Let's get into that. 617-779-0985 because they need righties, and they don't have one. And they've released one who got the final out of the World Series yesterday. There's something that went into that decision. We'll get into all of that. We'll continue with you. Thoughts on Roman Anthony last night. Thoughts on Payton Tolli last night. Thoughts on the state of the Red Sox. We continue. It's Matt McCarthy, George Balekji. You got something for me?
Thoughts on the next face of Boston sports. Call in.
And that too. We got a couple thoughts on the line on that. We'll get to that. Don't you worry. We'll have people talking about how so much better Roman Anthony is than Drake May right now. But
it's 2 versus 1. Callers, help me out.
We continue. Matt McCarthy and George Balekji here on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Really, really tough decision. This is a guy who's been a really good starting pitcher in this league for a long time. Has struggled to stay on the field with injuries, but we felt like he could be a boost to our rotation. And then when when it became clear that there was maybe a better opportunity for him to contribute from the pen, we made that move. And our hope and our expectation was we were going to be able to provide enough runway to give him a chance to settle in and transition into that role and then contribute down the stretch in getting some meaningful outs for us. But circumstances changed and we had some injuries, with Fitz and losing that length piece in the pen and needing a starter tonight. It just felt like this was what was best for the team at this point.
And were you surprised they released Buehler?
Yeah, because as much as we're talking about what Payton Tolli could be in late September and October, right? There's an unknown with him. Does he work out? We don't know. It's the same conversation you would have about a Walker Buehler where there's the unknown with him. And the unknown is he could be good. He could be a relief pitcher. He could be a spot start as a starting pitcher. A guy that, you said it, through the last out in the World Series for the Dodgers, is a proven vet in the playoffs. And what you're hoping with him this year was 150-ish innings pitched of quality starting baseball. It's all you needed. And they released him. There has to be more to it than baseball with that. Maybe it's Walker Buehler. As much as that's a guy that said, Matt, look, I'm a starting pitcher, but if they need me in the bullpen, I'll do that, which I commended him for. Fine. Embrace your role. There has to be something more where they were using him in the pen in a way, but it had to have come to a head. And I think it's on Walker Buehler, not the Red Sox. Because he said it, I will come out of the pen for them. For them to release him on the same day that Payton Tolli makes the start too. That's where the antenna goes up a little. Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, something happened with Buehler. I think there's very little doubt about that. And I think Breslow's kind of getting into it there a little bit. He says, well, we thought we were going to have the runway, of course. Craig Breslow talking like Craig Breslow again. We thought we were going to have the runway to essentially transition him to a bullpen role, and then things changed, and Fitz got hurt, and Criswell got hurt, and this and that, and now we need a starting pitcher, which wouldn't that imply that you would actually want to keep Walker Buehler? It's like, hey, we just lost a bunch of guys, so not we need to get rid of somebody because we lost a bunch of guys. We actually have fewer bodies than we did before. Saying that would actually suggest that you would be keeping somebody like Walker Buehler. So here's what I read into this. Fitz went down. Buehler thought, okay, they need me to give the team more length. I'm going to go back to the starting rotation. Fitz is down. They kind of did a bullpen game last week. Bernardino opened, then Fitz started. Okay, so Fitz got hurt in that game. He's down. I'm going back to the rotation. Red Sox say, no, we're calling up a kid. You're not getting your job back. Then Buehler says, F you guys. I'm out. I'm done. I want out. Made it clear that he wanted out. Went off the reservation in some way. Whatever that thing is, Buehler went somewhere else. Buehler had an issue with the team, and the Red Sox said, you know what? Screw you, buddy. You have a 5.5 ERA. We're just going to release you. Buehler probably knows that somebody is going to sign him. He might go back to Los Angeles, where they've had problems finding guys to, eat some innings for them this year. He might go back to the Dodgers, and he might say, you know what? I'm good with this scene. It hasn't worked out here. You're going to bring up a kid to start over me when I have significant financial incentive to be starting baseball games. I'm good with this scene. I'm done. Release me. F you guys. Or didn't show up or didn't do whatever, and the Red Sox say, you know what? Screw you, buddy. Somewhere along the line yesterday, somebody said, screw you, buddy. We're done. I don't know if that was Buehler. I don't know if that was the Red Sox. I know that relationship came to an end in some way, shape, or form, and it probably has to do with Buehler's role, which he accepted a week and a half ago. Why is he now not accepting it at this point? I think it has to do with the fact that they called the kid up yesterday to start instead of him.
Bingo. I think that's what it is. But shame on you. Because nothing you've done on the mound since your start against the Phillies, where it was a wasted gem of Walker Buehler because the Red Sox end up losing that game. Since then, nothing has shown that you're on the track to even be serviceable as a pitcher. And I understand the incentives that are tied to it. I understand all of that. But if it's because a prospect goes out and gets a start over you for a team, and this is where I go, where They can't afford to just cost away games. Talking both sides of my neck, but whatever. Because, again, the reward from putting Payton Tolli out there, giving him the MLB experience. Because, again, what is the reward there with Tolli? He could be a guy that they can rely on. They've seen enough the sample size of Walker Buehler. It's not there. Could he possibly find in October? Yes. Dude, it's almost April. In 2 days, in 2 days it's going to be September. It's almost the end of August. We've seen what it is from him. It's not there. He does not have it. And that's what the Red Sox knew with the move to the pen. He was in agreement with that because you don't just make that move without him being on the same page. If it is a Payton Tolli, after what he did last night especially, getting a start says, you know what, I'm out, I'm good. That's just selfish. And that's what this team doesn't want. It's why they traded Rafael Devers. You have to be about the team.
Yeah, so he had a problem with his role, and they called up a kid, and he didn't like that. Here's the one, and all of those things you just said are true, right? I mean, in the end, it is on Walker Buehler because he pitched like crap this year, and he wasn't good enough, and, his ego is bruised, and he's not in a good spot. I get that. I understand that. The one thing I will hold against the Red Sox, outside of signing him in the first place, hand up, I was wrong about that. The one thing I will hold against them is they've had a week and a half to get him in a little bit more of a higher leverage role in the bullpen to see what that thing looks like, and they've chosen not to. So, when Breslow says, we thought we had the runway. Kyle, do you mind? Could we get that part from Breslow again where he starts talking about Buehler's role in the bullpen? Oh, we thought we had the runway. We thought we essentially had the time, for him to ramp up to an opportunity where he could get some important outs for us. Can we hear that from Breslow?
Our hope and our expectation was we were going to be able to provide enough runway to give him a chance to settle in and transition into that role and then contribute down the stretch in getting some meaningful outs for us. But circumstances changed and we had some injuries, with Fitz and losing that length piece in the pen and needing a starter tonight, and just felt like this was what was best for the team at this point.
So what happened is they went to him and said, hey, Walker, you're going to be a long inning mop-up guy. Like that's what you're going to be because Fitz is hurt. So you are now the new Richard Fitz in our bullpen. You're going to do what you did in Yankee Stadium. You're going to go 2 1/3. You're not going to pitch high leverage. You're going to pitch low leverage. You're going to pitch blowout games.
Like sixth inning,
right? For a team that said we want Walker Buehler to try to get important outs for us, they showed nothing over the last week and a half that indicated they were actually interested in getting him to try to pitch higher leverage. And what you saw last night was a team that does not have a second righty in the bullpen. I wanted to see Buehler in a 1-inning role, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But instead of Greg Weissert in that game, that should have been Walker Buehler with a 2-run lead in the 6th inning last night, and let's see what it looks like when you're trying to get us 2 outs. Buehler is a pitcher, George, and I'll get your thoughts on this. Buehler is a pitcher to me who used to throw 99, knows he doesn't throw 99 anymore, and is scared to go in the zone. Would the stuff play better? Would the velocity improve if he were pitching in 1-inning spurts? Does the stuff improve in the bullpen? And we didn't get a chance to see that because they used him in a mop-up role where it's like, hey, buddy, we need you to eat some innings for us. So you're going to go out there and you're going to pitch more like a starting pitcher. I wanted to see Buehler in a higher leverage situation. Maybe it wouldn't have worked. Maybe he would have failed. But I wanted to see it. And we didn't see it. And that's what I will hold against the Red Sox in all of this.
What happened between August 24th and August 29th? Because that's when he did that appearance. 6th inning, comes in, 2 1/3, like you said, 2 earned runs. Wasn't the best. But the runway that Craig Breslow talks about. And that's where they have the plans. Where's the execution? Because that's where it doesn't make sense. That's where there are these visions we hear. It's always after the matter of the fact, too. So he's after, well, this is what the plan was. And then where is that disconnect where there is the plan, but what's the actual path to execution of the plan? There's all the outcomes they think of. There's outcome-based anxiety and there's execution-based anxiety. You can have your outcomes, but you have to focus on the step-by-step. And it doesn't seem to be there because there is, again, time and time again, there's a disconnect between what the outcome the front office wants and the player being receptive to that. And that's what I wonder, too. Because over the course of the last 5 days, because that's it, too. If there's that pathway and I understand the rest, he's a starting pitcher. He pitches 2 innings one day. Why are you waiting 5 days to use him again?
Right. They showed him they weren't interested in using him.
And that's where I can see him going, if I'm just going to stay here, then wait.
Right, exactly. I know
Release me.
You release me, the Dodgers are going to pick me up, and maybe it'll be a better situation for me. Oh, I'm not going back to the starting rotation because you're calling up a kid. You say you want me to pitch higher leverage innings. Well, I pitched 2 1/3 mop-up duty in Yankee Stadium on Sunday night when Dustin May, who you traded for and may or may not be much better than me.
Yeah.
I mean, he is, but
it's not.
As somebody said to me on the day the Red Sox traded for Dustin May, it's like, oh, I see the Red Sox love the Walker Buehler experience so much that they traded for Walker Buehler all over again.
That's what it felt like.
What happened here? What happened? You say you want to use him, then you don't use him. So I understand why he probably popped off. Now, I don't defend him if he's popping off about calling up Payton Tolli because he lost his job, but I would defend him if he said, hold on, I thought you were going to use me in the bullpen and now you're not using me in the bullpen. It's on him. It's on the team. The thing was a mess. And once again, it feels like, to your point, the Red Sox had a plan with a player but weren't able to communicate that plan with the player. And that is a consistent problem in the Craig Breslow era.
And you can't have that. Again, and this is a guy also that is still learning the job. May not love to hear that, but also how many jobs have you had where you're going, and you know the company in a way is taking a risk on me. Mm-hmm. And you know yourself as a prospect, let's think about it like that you can develop into something. It's baptism by the fire again. It's with everything. You learn from your mistakes. You learn from your failures. And where Craig Breslow himself has said it was after the Rafael Devers trade of, I need to be a more effective communicator. He knows he has to work on that. So when is that progress going to be made? And the improvement has to be made. And it can't be a year-by-year thing. That has to be day by day, week by week. Any relationship you have in life, especially the close ones, where you work, in your personal life, that stuff you work on day by day, week by week. Not year by year. You don't have a friend where you may get in an argument, may say something you regret, and go, hey, my bad, I'll be better in a year. No. You want that next day or that next moment. And that's where there needs to be the improvement because it is a common theme. Where Walker Buehler, again, was like, I'm a starting pitcher. This is back like a month and a half. If they need me in the pen, I'll do it. And I heard that and I go, credit to him to being a professional. And he did it. And then he sat for 5 days. So what happened there? And he simply said, look, I'm not just going to sit on the bench and I want to be used. If you're going to use me, if I'm going to show up every day, if I'm going to, the last of my potential, use it, pitch me. Don't sit me. And I think that's where a conversation was had if he goes, and if you're not going to use me, then release me because I'm just not going to show up then.
Relationship breakdown. That's what happened with the Red Sox and Walker Buehler in some way. And another relationship issue with the Red Sox and a player. 617-779-0985. Also speaking of releases, how about this for the Patriots yesterday? The Jabril Peppers cut. Another one that kind of came out of nowhere. You said, huh? What the hell happened here? We'll get to that next. Matt McCarthy and George Balekji on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
If you're going to let them go, which they've tried with Kyle Duggar, Anthony Jennings was shopped around, who's a good run-stopping edge defender. That's an Anthony Jennings. Kyle Duggar, not great in coverage. Obviously was injured last year. Was misdiagnosed. That set him back. He shared that with Andrew Callahan of the Boston Herald back in January. But Duggar is not a scheme fit for this new defensive scheme led by Terrell Williams. Neither is Jabril Peppers. Okay, but if you don't see them as a scheme fit, how do you not trade them? Because you just caught Javon Baker. Yeah, I mean, you cut that entire draft class except for Drake May and Caden Wallace. And Caden Wallace, right tackle, you draft him to play left tackle. Now he's a left guard, not working out. You don't get something back, a 5th, 6th round pick, which can be vital for teams that build, just to build out depth in the roster. I understand Jabril Peppers and Kyle Duggar aren't scheme fits. You want safeties that are good in deep coverage. Mm-hmm. You want cornerbacks that are man up, and you want defensive linemen that wreak havoc instead of eat up gaps. No, they get after the quarterback, get downfield, right?
Far
and you want
more
linebackers.
Aggressive approach.
Yeah. You knew what your scheme was when you hired Mike Vrabel in January, when he brought in Terrell Williams. And you knew that 2 of your better players on defense, not just at the safety room, on defense, are Kyle Duggar and Jabril Peppers. Why did you wait so long to shop Kyle Duggar? Why did you just release Jabril Peppers a week before the season kicks off? It's not that you just don't get a return. You knew these guys weren't fits. And again, there has to be more to it. Was it the Patriots going to Jabril Peppers? Hey, we need to work with the cap. We need to take a pay cut. And he goes, no.
Work with the cap?
Where they have the most cap space in the NFL.
Come on.
We know the Patriots. They went out and spent Milton Williams, Robert Spillane, Stephon Diggs, this coaching staff, but we know they watch their bottom line. It made sense from a football standpoint. It made 0 sense from managing the money in the game and a team building. Where also a Jabril Peppers is a Mike Vrabel guy. Plays hard, shows up, says all the right things, is a leader. Yeah, he had the captain patch last year, but it's more than wearing that patch. He legitimately is a leader in that locker room, and he had his setback last season off the field. But that was all behind him. This is a guy, you go back to his days at Michigan, was always the dude on the defensive side of the ball. Play smash mouth football, hit you in the face, play violent in the most beautiful way possible. He plays football how it was designed to be played. Perfect fit for Mike Vrabel. I understand not the scheme, but you can find usage of him in certain packages. He ended up practicing with the second unit, and maybe Jabril Peppers didn't love that. You still don't trade him? That's where I just cannot wrap my mind around it.
So I'm not convinced he's a Mike Vrabel guy. I know you think he's more of a fit from this is the style of football that Mike Vrabel would want to play. He's not a Vrabel guy in the sense that he was not brought in under Mike Vrabel. He was a captain last year. Have you seen what they've done to their captains?
Yeah, all of them are gone.
The purge of the captains.
No, all of them are gone.
So I'm with you, though. The most important point you hit on is it's not the fact that they moved on from Peppers. Fine. You moved on from Jabril Peppers. You were interested in moving on from Kyle Duggar. I get it. The scheme fit, it matters in football, all that. It's the timing of it all. Why are you doing it after you've already set your roster? Why are you just cutting the guy? And the answer is because you decided going into this you were going to keep one of Duggar or Peppers because you've determined a while ago, I'm sure, that both these guys are not a scheme fit, so let's not keep both. Let's just keep one. Well, then they basically made a whole public spectacle of the Duggar thing this summer to try and get him traded. The problem is, George, nobody's going to take that contract. He's not the player he once was. Nobody wants to pay him $14 million if they're like, okay, just cut him. That's the NFL. The business of the NFL is, oh, you want to trade this guy? Well, in the end, you're just going to cut the guy. We're not going to take the money on. We'll sign him after you cut him. So why didn't these guys get traded? Because nobody wants to trade for them. That's the way the NFL works.
But you should at least there are teams out there that need safeties that play in the box. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying they're getting a 4th rounder. Like, this isn't a Quadre Diggs trade. Definitely not a Jamal Adams trade or a Minka Fitzpatrick trade. I'm not saying that. You don't at least get draft compensation, a pick swap, and you keep some of the salary? Like, something in return. And draft picks do matter.
That's the key.
Especially for a team rebuilding.
Some of the salary. No,
and maybe teams are saying, "Hey, Pats, you still pay him." They don't want to. Kyle Duggar, $8 million in dead cap. Jabril Peppers, $4 million in dead cap. That was difference of $4 million there is big, and that's why they cut him. But it's again though, You say, like, he's not a Vrabel guy because he's from the Elliott Wolf regime and the Bill Belichick regime. Mm-hmm. He was a fit in the Bill Belichick defenses. Marcus Jones isn't a Vrabel guy. Del Pettis, Jalen Hawkins, they're not Vrabel guys.
What are you paying?
And that's fair. When you have all that cap space, though, and again,
it's not about cap space, George. It's not about cap space.
The football perspective. So because he's not a Vrabel guy, you don't pay him what he's already on?
No, it's because they don't want to pay him. That's simple. It's not about cap space. You got to get the cap space thing out of it.
This is not a good enough team to cut good football players.
I agree.
And that's where it all circles back for me. You tried to get rid of Kyle Duggar. Okay, what were you going to get in return? It would have been draft picks. You just cut Jabril Peppers. Your secondary depth is suspect because behind Carlton Davis and Christian Gonzalez, which the latest update on Christian Gonzalez,
not good.
Intricate, complicated. That's how they're describing his hamstring injury. Carlton Davis, always injured. Those are your top two corners. They are dogs. But behind them, Alex Austin, he's okay. He's all right. For your safeties and coverage, Jalen Hawkins, Del Pettis, unproven, but okay, we'll see him fit the scheme. Marcus Jones, if he goes down, all right, you're putting a lot on Craig Woodson, the rookie out of Cal. The depth in the secondary is suspect, and a lot matters on how the secondary plays. When you're going to rush 3 or 4 guys, that's it. It's a pass rushers get after the quarterback, and that's it. You want to play man up, you have to trust the guys behind you. And I don't know how much I trust the depth. That's what doesn't make sense. You're not a good enough team to cut good football players.
Follow the money, George.
But then it gets to a point where if I'm going to follow the money, if you were middle of the pack in cap space, fine.
It's not about cap space.
You have the most cap
space,
room.
George, cap space has nothing to do with this. It's about what you're actually paying these players. Period. End of story. Cap space, as
so
Bill
cut
Belichick
them after
told
this
us,
season. Cut them after the season when there's no dead cap.
They don't want to pay them now. You're still
paying them anyway,
money.
So you're saving $4 million on Jabril.
Okay, so $4 million
and you're still paying Kyle Duggar his $15 million.
Correct. The reason why they tried to trade Duggar first is because Duggar cost them more. If they were able to, and let me know if I'm wrong about this. I don't think I am, but Kyle, you can look this up
Duggar's
too.
contract's higher.
Duggar's, they're paying him $14 million, $15 million a year. 15. If they had been able to trade him, they get out of that money. If they had cut him, they still would have had to pay him that money. As you just said, they saved $4 million on cutting Jabril Peppers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If they cut Kyle Duggar, it'll cost them $8 million in dead cap. Jabril Peppers costs them $4 million.
What does it cost them in the money they pay out? The cap has nothing to do with it.
Well, I'm saying,
nothing whatsoever.
So you're saying what the Jabril Peppers contract was?
What's the guaranteed money in there? Cap space has nothing, zero to do with it. Period. End of story.
So from what I saw, the Patriots saved like $1 million this year on cutting Peppers. Mm-hmm. But he still had over 4 and change, like 4.25 guaranteed for this season.
Okay.
Yeah, how much he was going to get $5 million. His cap number was 8.2.
How much guaranteed money was Duggar owed? If we can look that up? Because the whole they saved $4 million against the cap for Jabril. For what purpose? They already lead the league in cap space. It has nothing to do with that. They determined that these players were not a scheme fit, which is totally right. They want to purge the previous group. So what they went into this year is he said, we've got 2 guys who aren't a fit. We're going to try to get rid of one of them. They spent the whole summer trying to trade Duggar because that would have saved them more money than cutting Peppers. And in the end, they cut Peppers because that saves them more money because they weren't able to make a trade for either player.
Duggar's guaranteed $9.7 million this season.
There you go.
It's
simple.
Then cut the guy with the higher number. Then cut the guy that mentally was behind last season. That's coming off a misdiagnosed ankle. That does cost you more. Jabril Peppers would have cost him $5 million. Duggar is going to cost him $9 million. Cut the guy that would have cost you more if it's about money then.
Okay, but you're still paying that money because the money's guaranteed.
And if for Mike Vrabel, when he talks about his time in Tennessee ending, and it was because he wasn't winning games, and for Robert Kraft to say it wasn't good enough, and he failed Gerard Mayo. When this team and this product on the field put by the Patriots was simply not good enough from any minimal football standard, you should not be cutting good starting caliber football players. Get a return, and if you can't, then you go, you know what? At least this guy can play. Because this secondary, Gonzalez, Davis, Woodson's a rookie. You're asking a lot. Jalen Hawkins, Del Pettis, they have not been starting safeties yet. Marcus Jones is often injured. Robert Spillane, fine. Jack Gibbons is slow. Christian Ellis, he's a specials teamer. So now that would be a completely different position, but what are Duggar and Peppers? In the box defenders. Eventually, you're going to need them. Why? So you could keep 8 receivers? Well, Javon Baker's gone now. Kendrick Bourne's gone now. Your receiver numbers are dropping. For what? For who?
Jabril Peppers' per-game roster bonus this year for the Patriots, $850,000 per game.
Per game.
Per game.
All right, then you follow the money.
Follow the money.
Trade him for a 7th.
Here's the thing.
No one wants him.
Nobody wants to trade because they know what you want. They know you want to get out of the money. So they're going to say you're going to release him anyway. All right, so if you're Team X and you're interested in Jabril Peppers, you know the Patriots are going to release him anyway. Same thing with Duggar. It's like, okay, we might be interested in Kyle Duggar. Call their bluff. Instead of us having to give up something for him, they're going to go ahead. They might release him anyway. We're going to get him. That's the way it works oftentimes in the NFL because money isn't guaranteed. Oftentimes.
But as you found that in the last 5 minutes we've been talking, when Ryan Cowden and Mike Vrabel walk into that office and John Stryker, they've known that since before January.
Yes, this is absolutely a good point.
So why does this happen now?
Because they spent all summer trying to get rid of the more expensive guy. They decided they were going to keep one of them. They spent all summer essentially very publicly trying to force Duggar out the door. A number of reports, they're listening to offers on Duggar. They spent the whole summer saying, let's get rid of the more expensive guy. They couldn't get rid of the more expensive guy, so then they cut Peppers. And it's messed up. I agree. You're totally right about that. Like, if you wanted to make this decision from a pure football standpoint, this would have been done in January or February. It would have been done in the actual offseason portion. They just waited until the very end because they couldn't get rid of the guy they owed more money to. It all comes down. It has nothing to do with cap space. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with how much money you are handing him. Here is a check. Let's give you this. This is your money. That's it. And that sucks. That sucks. 617-779-0985.
This defense better be good.
I agree, George.
They better be good. And they're going to be tested. We're a week away from the season kicking off, not even. And your elite cornerback hamstring in his recovery is described as interesting, difficult, complex. Carlton Davis has been on and off the practice field since the start of training camp, nursing a lower body injury. And your safeties are Craig Woodson out of Cal, who's a rookie, Jalen Hawkins and Del Pettis, who've been in the league few years, are unproven as full-time starters. Marcus Jones, always injured. Alex Austin, backup. DJ James, has been, a beaut through camp, had a quiet end to training camp. It's a lot of question marks.
Duggar set to make a guaranteed $11 million in cash for the 2025 season. That's why they didn't cut him. That's why they tried to trade him, so somebody else could take the contract.
Yeah, that contract protects him.
Yep. All right, we'll continue. It's Matt McCarthy and George Balekji here on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
A
lot of that.
This defense better be good. This defense better show up, and you better not have a need at safety.
Do you believe? So here's the thing: do you believe in Vrabel moving away from these players solely because of a scheme fit?
No, I think both come into the factor of it all. Now, because again, I understand that scheme fit, and maybe he's not a starting safety. That's still a Jabril Peppers, though, that would play every game, would find his way onto the field, and he'd get those bonuses. So I don't believe it's him going to the team and going, let me go. He started taking reps with the second unit. Doesn't mean he wouldn't play. And how thin this secondary is, he would find a way. The non-scheme fit, where how many question marks are across this roster, it doesn't make sense with good football players. If you want to go with like a non-scheme fit, then honestly, I would understand a Marcus Jones, a smaller nickel corner, where Mike Vrabel has said leading up to the draft, there's a lot of value in that position. You need a good slot cornerback. Marcus Jones is fast, isn't that healthy though? And Vrabel wants those bigger man corners. Can Marcus Jones keep up? Yeah. But the scheme fits, again, maybe they're not starting safeties. They would fit this team better than a Christian Ellis, who's a special teamer playing some linebacker. They'd fit this team better than you bring in a Jack Gibbons. Now you're learning a different position, but if this is a man-up defense and needs someone to play in the box and help out a Robert Spillane, Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers can do that.
Let's go to Chris in Watertown. Hey, Chris.
Hi, actually, this is Chris in Worcester. How you doing?
Hi, Chris in Worcester. How you doing?
Hey, actually, we kind of forget about something, though, the off-field antics of Peppers last season, too. Do you think that had anything to play into it? Like, can this guy, again, there was the one incident, but, it was kind of, a little over the top. And, we kind of just forget that happened. Everybody gave him a free pass because they were so bad they needed the manpower, but there was the incident,
So you think the Patriots ignored the incident and then all of a sudden in August of 2025 said, you know what, wait a minute, hold on, there was that thing last year?
I think it's a different coaching staff. I think it's a different mentality, and I think, the money did play into it.
Yeah, but you're getting into the money, Chris. And I've heard this a number of times, George, over the last 24 hours. Well, there was the thing last year. Oh, we're just learning about that now?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it was a new coaching staff. He was hired in January. No, it was the money. The money. So what they decided is they were going to use this summer to try to trade Kyle Duggar. They couldn't trade Kyle Duggar, which means they couldn't get out of Duggar's money. They had two players, two safeties, and George has laid this out, who were not scheme fits. So then they decide we're going to get rid of one of them and we're going to keep one of them. We can't get rid of the guy who we owe $11 million to. I mean, we can get rid of him, but we're going to pay him to go away, so They're not going to do that. They don't really have to pay Peppers to go away. Only $2.5 million is guaranteed to him this year. The more you keep him around, the more you pay him. So it has nothing to do with the incident last year. It has nothing to do with the legal matter last year. It has nothing to do with that. It's not like they woke up today and realized, he was arrested last year. Yeah, great. We all know it. We all watched the news last year. They ignored it because in the end, they thought they might keep him because he'd be cheaper to keep around than Kyle Duggar. It's really that simple. Kyle?
What annoys me is this whole scheme fit thing that everyone, all the reporters have went back to, because FYI, wouldn't you know back in, OTAs spring that Jabril Peppers wasn't a scheme fit?
Yes.
So instead of just waiting all this time, yes, you might have been focused on a Kyle Duggar trade, but your front office should be able to do multiple things. Look for a replacement. Look at free agents during this time when you would have probably an idea or questions about the fit going into spring practices. Bring in different options. Don't leave yourself limited to where now your safety room has zero depth. If Woodson goes down, they're screwed.
They decided that they were keeping one of them. That was the decision they made in the offseason. And they said, we'll spend the summer trying to trade Duggar. And if we can't trade Duggar, we'll cut Peppers. This was the plan. That's why it went down this way.
Mike Vrabel knew about the scheme fits that Jabril Peppers and Kyle Duggar are, or lack of, week 15 last year, when they're getting their butts whooped out of the bye against Arizona. Mike Vrabel didn't find out he's getting this job right before the announcement was made, right before Gerard Mayo was fired. No. You think all this stuff happened on schedule as we found out? The Crafts knew they were moving on from Gerard Mayo when they saw how poorly that team played coming out of the bye. That's when they made that decision. They knew they wanted to hire Mike Vrabel before they even got to that bye. When you are a coach and when you're an owner, when you're someone that makes any hiring in sports, you have your list, your top 5 candidates for the job. Gerard Mayo, for whatever reason, was number 1 for them last offseason above Mike Vrabel. When they hired him, they crossed him off and they reassessed their list. Now Mike Vrabel's 1. They knew that. He knew the safeties he had. He knew he was in line to get this job. Stuff happened quick. They BS'd the process. It was always Mike Vrabel to be the head coach. It was always Josh McDaniels to be the offensive coordinator. He knew who he had at safety going back last season. And also what happened when Jabril Peppers off the field and everyone just looked past it? No. Everyone assessed it. He's an adult. He was 28 at the time, and you put yourself in that situation, and he took accountability and ownership, which I gave him credit for. He knows better, and you have to be better than that. That's not why he was cut a few days ago. Yesterday, actually.
If they had a problem with it, they would have cut him last year.
Immediately. He came back and played for the team.
If Mike Vrabel had a problem with it when he took over, he would have cut him early in the offseason. Has nothing to do with that. Nothing at all. Come on, guys. Let's be adults about this. Come on, seriously. Let's look at it critically.
Explain it to
Mark in South Carolina. Mark.
Hey, how are you?
How you doing?
Good. Thanks for taking my call. I love listening to you guys. Hey, I got a comment from yesterday, and I want your thought on it. But then I'm going to make a comment on the cornerbacks. Do you think that they were talking about how many wins they were going to have? I think they're good for 6 wins, but I think Vrabel and McDaniels running a good 2-minute warning are good for 2 to 3 wins. So I think they're between an 8 and a 9-win team. My question to you is, why are they not looking at Stephon Gilmore? I know he's 34, but with Gonzalez questionable to start this year, why don't they bring in a seasoned veteran that may be able to bring them some playing time? Thank you. I'll take your call off the air. Bye.
Money. You think Stephon Gilmore, after the season he just had in Minnesota, doesn't want to get paid? Also, do you think Stephon Gilmore wants to go through a training camp? And he's old. Jabril Peppers, Kyle Duggar, they're 29, about to be 30. Both past their physical prime. Kyle Duggar well beyond that, too. Jabril Peppers can still play. Stephon Gilmore, 34 years old, what he did with Dallas, what he did with Minnesota, I'm so impressed by him. I think he got paid $9 or $11 million last year, which I was astonished by that number. What do you think? He wants to show up to Gillette? Yeah, Rob, no worries, man. Give me $2 million a year. No, he still wants to get paid. And guess what? That's the type of guy that has gotten paid and played enough football and earned his way. He doesn't need to play. He doesn't need that $3-4 million. Now, if a team calls and offers him, let's say 7 to 8, he'll take that. The Patriots won't offer that.
In regards to wins, if I have to do now, Kyle, how many shows have you and I done this summer?
A lot.
How many times have we discussed the Patriots win total?
Too many to count.
If I have to give one more take on, will the Patriots have 7 wins? Will the Patriots have 8 wins? We are mercifully only a week and a half away from the start of the NFL season. Like, it just, oh God, we just need to get there. I will eat a cyanide capsule if I have to do one more. Ooh. Will the Patriots have 7 or 8? Like, oh God. I can't do it. But George, you have not been here. How many wins are the Patriots going to have? A fresh take on the Patriots win total.
That's a 10-win team.
No.
And it's how their schedule falls. You want to open up that cup of worms?
Come on.
You want to open up the cup of worms?
Hold on. You're saying they don't have enough talent. We just did. The Patriots don't have enough talent for the last 20 minutes. They shouldn't have cut Jabril Peppers. They don't have enough talent. Yeah. Now all of a sudden they're winning 10 games. That feels a little inconsistent.
Vegas, Miami, Pittsburgh, Carolina to open.
Okay. They're
right?
Not
they could go
Vegas.
2-2. At Buffalo, that's a loss.
Okay.
At New Orleans, at Tennessee versus Cleveland. 3 straight rookie quarterbacks, or that's Joe Flacco on the end of that.
You'll go 2-1.
Though they're facing Atlanta, that's a trap game in my eyes. They lose that.
Yep.
At Tampa, could be a trap game that swings either way, though. I don't know how healthy this Tampa team will be. I don't know how good the offense will be. Dave Canales, now at Carolina. Liam Cohen, now at Jacksonville. Baker Mayfield's only so good. And Todd Bowles can only get bailed out by an offensive coordinator so many times. Versus New York, I think they beat them. I don't believe in Justin Fields. Here's a key one. New York is a Thursday night game. At Cincinnati on Sunday night. Extended prep for the Patriots. It's Mike Vrabel, who's a better head coach than Zach Taylor. That Cincinnati offensive line is still suspect, and that defense is still terrible. They could beat them.
Okay.
Against New York on Monday night, bye week, home against Buffalo with extended prep, because coming off the bye, Mike Vrabel, better head coach than Sean McDermott. At Baltimore, loss. At New York, win. Home against Miami to end the season, that's the softest Miami team. I didn't count them exactly, but it's how the schedule falls. All the rookie quarterbacks, the only elite quarterbacks they face, Josh Allen twice, Joe Burrow once, Lamar Jackson once. They only face 3 elite quarterbacks, and one of them twice. And those are all top 4 guys. But other than that, it's Geno Smith, Tua Tagovailoa, washed Aaron Rodgers,
They ever beat
Bryce
Tua?
Young.
They ever beat Tua? What's their
Have
record?
they?
What's their record against Tua? They have not beat Tua. 0. 0 wins against Tua. Well, I'm with you.
The
I'm
at
not a Tua
Miami
guy.
game week 2 is interesting. That team
That's
is
a
so
loss.
soft.
That's a loss.
I think they lose at Miami. That team to end
They
the season.
always lose at Miami.
So this
Every
is,
year we do Patriots schedule talk. It's like, oh,
You-
win
you
in Miami.
have to-
Are you on crack? Like, they never win in Miami. In my lifetime, they've never won in Miami. Are you kidding me? Even when they were rolling, they would have weird losses in Miami. Tom Brady. What was Tom Brady's record in Miami? It was like 500, wasn't it?
Hey man, especially when you're a team from New England.
In September too. Yeah.
Here's my theory too with the Miami effect. It's not that just you're a team from the Northeast, like the New York Giants go down there every once in a while, whatever. Buffalo obviously goes there. This applies to the Bills actually as well. But when you play for the Patriots, it's not like you're playing in Boston, living in the Seaport, going out in Back Bay. You live in Walpole. You got nothing to do. With all due respect to Walpole.
No, that sounds like you're disrespecting Walpole. Cosmos.
You live in
Tremendous.
Mansfield. You live in Norton.
Yeah.
What is there to do? So you go to Miami where it's not only 20 degrees warmer and sunny, 11, King of Diamonds, Kiki on the River. That's why you lose there.
Take a guess what Tom Brady's career record was in Miami. He played 18 games in Miami.
Oh, thank you for giving me the exact number. 7-11 in Miami.
Very close, 8-10.
Yeah.
He had a losing record in Miami.
Had to be.
Oh, but no, Miami win. What? Have you ever watched the Patriots before? Are you kidding me? 10 feels a little strong, man. I like it. I hope you're right. I like the optimism.
But what does Mike Vrabel do? He brings in those one-possession losses, those one-possession games you win. They have a coaching advantage in a lot of these games.
Okay.
They're facing a lot of rookie quarterbacks or mid-tier QBs. And the fact that they get Joe Burrow extra prep and Josh Allen coming off a bye, that's huge.
You're ignoring a critical factor in
The
one-possession
offensive line.
games that I want to get to. 617-779-0985.
I don't like where this is going.
We continue. I know. I'm going to make you very uncomfortable with this take, this truth that I'm going to bring to you. We continue. It's Matt McCarthy and George Balekji hanging out.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sport.
Receivers to the right before Douglas motions left. You got a tight end wide as well, and Hooper. Hasty on the right side of May. Drake waits on the snap and takes it. He drops back. May has time initially. Loads up, throws a deep ball. He's got a man downfield booty, but it's intercepted. Hooker has it. His second pick of the day. Game sealer for Tennessee.
Keep your head up, kid. Ain't see the backside. Shoot. And boy, look at them all. Look at the team going over to Drake May. The entire team.
The Titans win it 20-17.
That. But you're ignoring an important factor. The quarterback in one-score games.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where Drake May's record last year does matter. The Patriots won. How many games did the Patriots win last year?
4. Second year in a row winning 4.
Mm-hmm. Not good, right?
No,
Team
terrible.
sucks.
Yeah.
You have to be a really bad team to win only 4 games, right?
2
Is that
years
3?
in a row especially.
Fair. Oh, yeah, you say 3 because the last week doesn't count.
Oh, yeah. Sean McDermott knew what he was doing. He was like, here, take it. Take it. I'm not giving you the first overall pick.
We don't want this. We don't want it. We have no interest in winning this game. All right, but in fairness, listen, the scoreboard is the scoreboard. I'm only dealing in facts here, guys. I'm only dealing in facts. They won 4 games. What is the fact? How many of those games did Drake May win?
Of the 4 wins they had.
4 wins they had.
1.
That's
well,
correct.
if you're going by scoreboard, too. Because technically,
even
Jets.
the Jets game,
if you're
didn't finish that game out.
If technically.
But technically on his record, it says 2 wins, but in reality, it's 1.
Technically, he won 3 games. He started the Buffalo game.
Yeah, and then Joe Milton came up in mop-up duty.
Yes. So your quarterback won 3 games. We all know it was 1 because he played one of those games.
Let
start to finish.
Let the jury show that Drake May guy. When you asked how many did he win, who said 1?
You said 1 because that's the reality of it. Who won the Jets game?
Jacoby Brissett.
Yes. Why did Jacoby Brissett win the Jets game? Anybody have an answer to that?
Why? Let me hear this from you. Let me get the Matt McCarthy education.
George, I'm so glad you did that because you didn't let me, Mike Felger, make you answer it for me type of thing. That's what I tried to do to you there. I tried to do the Mike Felger. I'm going to facilitate this in your direction so you say it for me so I'm not the one technically on the record saying it. Thank you for not letting me weasel out of that take. The reason why they won the Jets game last year is because Jacoby Brissett did not turn the ball over. The reason why they won the Cincinnati game last year is because Jacoby Brissett did not turn the ball over. Why did they lose the Tennessee game?
They also won the Bengals game because they had a muffed punt return. The Cincinnati did. Yep. Fumble at the goal line. Mm-hmm. And that was the one game they played well.
And
they lost the Seahawks game, right? Yep.
Right.
Jacoby
they
Brissett
turned Cincinnati over in that game. Turnovers are the biggest factor in winning and losing in football. This is something Bill Belichick was always right about. Turnovers are the biggest factor. Drake May has a turnover problem. And that he's a young quarterback, so we take that into account. A lot of young quarterbacks have a turnover problem. Drake May does. It's the reason they lost the Tennessee game. It's the reason they lost the Buffalo game, because Drake May turned the ball over. So I think I don't think we should entirely jump to the conclusion that the Patriots are going to be overwhelmingly better in one-score games simply because Mike Vrabel is here. We have to take into account who the quarterback is, and it's a small sample size and it's a rookie year. But in one-scoring games, in close games, Drake May was not very good because he kept turning the ball over. They didn't play a lot of close games because the team sucked, all right? Mm-hmm. But you look at the Buffalo game. Drake May, not good enough in that. Chargers game? The Rams game.
Chargers game was non-compete.
May turn the ball over in the Chargers game. Oh, no, the Rams game. I'm confusing my LA teams. Trying to go back and think.
Chargers game, they got blown out 40-0.
The Chargers game is the perfect example of
how bad that team was.
How bad the team really was. But, they were in some games. Again, they lost to Los Angeles 28-22.
1 interception against the Rams.
Okay.
2 touchdowns.
They lost to the Colts. How many fumbles against the Rams? Any fumbles?
Yep, 1 fumble lost.
Mm-hmm. Turned the ball over twice.
Yep.
Colts game. That was more about the defense at the end, letting Anthony Richardson go 20 plays on you. He turned the ball over in the Colts game.
The Rams game was also DeMarcus Covington's lack of adapting and stop blitzing and covering Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
No doubt.
Matt Stafford picking them apart. Again, so, right, Drake May had a turnover issue his rookie season. Not going to dispute that at all. That's Drake May with a first-year head coach who we all saw was not ready for the job. If you probably asked him personally leading in, hey, could he have used a few more years? He'd probably say yeah. A first-time play caller on offense, Alex Van Pelt, good quarterbacks coach, okay offensive coordinator, but was under Kevin Stefanski, who is one of the best play callers in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Hughes leading the wide receiving room, who has never coached leading a room at that level, and that was an utter atrocity what they had on the outside. The worst offensive line in football with Scott Peters implementing a new system. First-year defensive coordinator. The list goes on and on. So the facts are, too, that this coaching staff is just the head coach alone more experienced than if you combine the head coach, the coordinators, and the wide receiving coach and QB coach from last year, right?
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
It's Mike Vrabel. It's Josh McDaniels. It's Doug Marrone. It's guys that they brought over from the Cleveland Browns coaching staff to be the quarterbacks coach and the wide receivers coach. It's the marriage of scheme and experience. Josh Dobbs, no affiliation with the Patriots. Where does he come from? San Francisco. Where did he win? In Minnesota. West Coast offense. What Josh McDaniels will implement. That's a backup ready to support the quarterback.
Wait, you think Josh Dobbs is a good thing?
Yes.
Oh, dude.
Because he doesn't have to play a snap.
Did you watch Josh Dobbs this summer?
Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
But this is what he's going to do. I'm holding, for anyone listening, I'm holding what would be a clipboard or an iPad and goes, here, this. I may stink, but this is what you do because he knows that system.
Okay, so I don't think Alex Van Pelt was a massive problem last year.
He was.
No, he wasn't.
The offensive line was the worst in football.
Yes.
So let's start with the talent. Mm-hmm. And also look at the offensive line. I look, the worst offensive line in football got the best offensive lineman in the draft. I hate how they didn't really attack their need for a left tackle.
Yep.
Will Campbell will be an all-pro left guard. I'm fine with that. Am I apprehensive when I see Will Campbell at left tackle, Jared Wilson at left guard, who both are rookies, Garrett Bradbury, who's a center, who Minnesota let walk, Mike Onwenu, right guard, fine, and Morgan Moses, who's 34, playing a lot of football and has been on a snap count all summer. I'm apprehensive. Same thing. I question the secondary's depth. That offensive line is concerning. You better be able to run the ball. Luckily, Will Campbell shines there. But Ramondre Stevenson, I don't know about the fumbling issues. Travion Henderson has juice. And it's not just his speed. He runs behind his pads. He's bigger than I thought. This receiving room, again, worst wide receiver room in the league last year. You can only get better. Thank God. Because as we thought 2 years ago was rock bottom, we found a new rock bottom with the Pats. This wide receiving room is better. They are. They have guys that can get open and get separation and fit Josh McDaniels. And you have a better play caller. So was Alex Van Pelt the reason for all this falling apart? No, it was Gerard Mayo. Their execution, their lack of preparation was awful. But that's why when I go with one possession shifts, yes, I'll say Mike Vrabel. Mm-hmm. But it's also the experience throughout this entire coaching staff. And the talent is better. The pass rush will be better. The secondary is better. Deep? No, but better.
I couldn't agree more with everything you just said. Yeah, the coaching staff will be better. I do think the talent is better on the roster. I don't think it's overwhelming, but I don't think they have the worst wide receiver room in the league, as you said. I think they actually have a good running back room. I think they've got a good tight end room. The quarterback, though, is it fair for me to say he was not good in one possession games last year?
100%.
He had a turnover problem, which is okay for a young quarterback. So I guess really the question is, you're high on Drake May, so you're betting on him to cut the turnovers out, to be better in game situations, in close game situations than he was last year. You are expecting there will be a level of improvement.
And that's exactly why.
Which is not an unfair take, by the way.
Look, this is where I love football and I nerd out with it. I do in not trying to prop myself up. I think the beat reporters that cover the Patriots every day, one of the best beats you'll find across the NFL. But I have the NFL Plus login where I can go in and I'll watch all the Drake May snaps. The throws he would make, and this is again where I'm going to sound like a nerd, where his quick decision making on what a corner decides on the outside to hit Austin Hooper on a deep crosser to the right sideline against the Chicago Bears that he does on first down. That's when I go, wow. His decision making is far ahead of what I thought he was. His athleticism and his arm strength has been there. Josh McDaniels will accelerate that. So yes, in one possession games, he will be better with a better receiving room. With tight ends, he already trusts. A better running game, too, with the depth of the running backs. But this is an offensive line that'll run block first, which sets up the play action. It's all a trickle-down effect. He will be better, too, because he's still really young in his football career. He may be older what you'd think of a second-year quarterback, where some guys come in and they're 21, 22 getting starts. But he didn't play a lot of football at UNC. And now what you hope...
Didn't win a lot of football at UNC either.
Right? And that was also, too, same thing. His offensive coordinator in his sophomore year, Phil Longo, left to Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Downs went to the NFL. His offensive lineman went to the NFL. It was all him carrying that. Bad offensive line, bad receiving room. And it was the same thing as rookie season. I think he takes a step forward because there is, again, now this is his full offseason of him learning the system, being the guy, being challenged by Mike Vrabel. And I mentioned Doug Marrone, Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels. Todd Downing, wide receivers coach, has play calling experience, whether you love it or not, has that. There's so much experience on the staff, the support. He can win. He can't win in spite of. Josh Allen's winning in spite of. But it took him a few years. And Brian Dable.
Can you be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL if you can't win in spite of? Because you think he's top 5.
You can't become that.
Okay.
And I think eventually he will be a guy that succeeds in spite of. There are prospects that work out because of. Mm-hmm. There are prospects that work in spite of. Bo Nix looks great because of Sean Payton. Drake May showed flashes of being really good in spite of Gerard Mayo.
So you think Josh McDaniels is going to elevate him, which
1,000%.
Which is not a common take around these parts, because I think a lot of people say that McDaniels is going to hold him back. The system is too complicated for Drake May. I want to get more of your thoughts on this on the other side. 617-779-0985. You say McDaniels is actually a really good thing for Drake May. We'll get into that next. Matt McCarthy, George Balekji here on the Sports Hub.
Boston.
has the arm talent, has accuracy, can make the quick decisions post-snap. Now, pre-snap, what can he do? What can he diagnose? And can he apply everything Josh McDaniels gives him to the field? I think he can. Josh McDaniels has adapted his system to Matt Castle, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Brissett, Tom Brady. Drake May has the makeup, and it's, again, the patience play. You can't say he's going to stink after his rookie season. And I'm not saying that he's going to have a top 5 year in year 2. Mm-hmm. Year 3, year 4. That's when you're going to see it pay off. That's when it comes down to Josh Allen was terrible his first year, was bad his second year, was good his third year. Him and Brian Dable clicked, and then year 4 on is when he picked up. Drake May is still a raw prospect, but Josh McDaniels is going to mold him.
So in fairness, I do not think Drake May is going to stink. I have questions about his ceiling. I have questions about his ability to reach that. But when you say you can't say Drake May is going to stink after his rookie season, in turn, couldn't you then also say you also can't say he's going to be a top 5 quarterback? Like, if we can't go to one extreme, why are we then allowed to go to the other extreme?
Well, I say he's going to be top 5, and I know fully. Like you said, you said the same thing of Roman Anthony.
Yep.
He's it. He's got it. And I go, well, and you said, well, yes.
No, I do not allow for the possibility that Roman Anthony is a bust in any way.
I don't allow for the possibility that Drake May won't be top 5 then. You want to go with the extremes?
Okay, all right.
And again, I'm not saying it's year 2, year 3. But I'm saying year 3, year 4 is when we're going to see that turnaround. You need consistency, like him and Josh McDaniels, to stay together. This offensive line has to get a lot better. They need to get a left tackle. They need to get an elite number 1 receiver. This needs to happen. But also, there's a quarterback that will succeed, and they will tap into that top 5 potential.
So you have no concerns about his ability to understand McDaniels' system, which has been something that's been raised this summer. Some people question his aptitude. Some people question the McDaniels system in general because it's very complicated. Derek Carr, has talked about how complicated that system was. It has not really worked anywhere else but here.
Yeah.
For the most part, it only worked with Tom Brady. I would say that, the Mac Jones thing was probably a good look for McDaniels, managing to get something out of Mac Jones, a little bit out of Mac Jones. What do you make of that whole discussion?
So with the Josh McDaniels system, when he was away from football for a year, after being fired for the second time as a head coach, where players were smoking cigars in the locker room in Vegas when he was fired, I'm not ignoring that.
Yeah.
I think this is a guy, if he gets another shot at being a head coach, that team is making a mistake. Some people are meant to be offensive coordinators. Some people are meant to lead a room, but not an entire team. I think he's one of those guys. He spent a year away learning. University of Washington, Ohio State with Chip Kelly. If you go back and watch the highlights from the national championship game with Ohio State, the way Will Howard was used by Chip Kelly, he's not as talented, athletic, his arm strength isn't there. That's how Josh McDaniels will be using Drake May. Sprint outs to move the pocket, more in the play action, of course, read options and run pass options, everything to tap into his full potential. And setting him up for where he's going to run the ball, but you set him up where you go to the sideline, you don't get hit. You take what the defense gives you. It's about moving the ball downfield consistently and staying positive. It's also the construction of the coaching staff. It's Josh McDaniels, who can run a West Coast system and spend a year away from football. It's Thomas Brown, who's a passing game coordinator. We've never seen that in New England before.
Right. The guy Vrabel wanted actually to have the job over Josh McDaniels.
And why did Josh McDaniels get the job? The Crafts. They love him. He's probably getting paid by someone else too. But it's Thomas Brown coming from Sean McVay in that coaching tree. Thomas Brown, who has play calling experience in Carolina. That was an absolute disaster with Frank Reich and David Tepper. He had play calling and head coaching experience in an interim role with Chicago, which was a disaster, but that's Thomas Brown. Doug Marrone as the offensive line coach. It's Todd Downing, wide receivers coach with play calling experience. It's Ashton Grant, who's a quarterback's coach. And you're going, okay, what is he going to do? Because Josh McDaniels is a QB coach. Ashton Grant came from Kevin Stefanski and Cleveland. It's Riley Larkin, who's an offensive assistant. Entry-level job.
Okay.
He was on the Ohio State staff last year. I'm reading off these names. I'll just show you quick. These are my notes that I took back in February when the coaching staff was hired.
A lot of Riley Larkin takes.
But it's also when Josh McDaniels talks to the media, he goes, what's important is he's learning. Because Thomas Brown, now if he practiced what he preaches, when they're in a meeting room, he said basically, if what I'm saying doesn't make sense to my staff, they communicate it to me. I make sure it makes sense to Drake May. It sounds like Josh McDaniels is more open to adapting. and listening to Thomas Brown, to Doug Marrone, to O'Reilly Larkin, and Ashton Grant, to Drake May. I don't understand that lingo. What if we did this instead? It's the scheme. It's about making Drake May understand it. And that's what I believe in Josh McDaniels.
I don't hate the McDaniels hire. I know a lot of people do. I'm more on your side of the street on this one. That being said, my concern with the McDaniels thing is if this thing doesn't work out, all right? It doesn't work out. Who's going to be the fall guy from this? Are you going to come in at the end of the year and say, well, May didn't take the step he was supposed to? Is that on May or is that on McDaniels? My sense is it's set up for it to be on McDaniels. That's the culture we've established around here. You keep firing offensive coordinators. This is, the fourth offensive coordinator in 4 years. It's the fifth offensive coordinator in 5 years because you go back to McDaniels, Patricia Joe Judge, Bill O'Brien, Alex Van Pelt, now back to McDaniels. That's 5.
Yeah.
Five different guys in 5 different years. Guarantee you, George, if May doesn't take the next step, it's going to be the system was too complicated. It wasn't a right scheme fit. They should have hired Thomas Brown. Guarantee you Vrabel's going to feel that way. We didn't get to hire the guy I wanted. Ownership forced this offensive coordinator on me. That would be my one concern. Now, I think McDaniels is a good enough coach that I think that factor is not going to exist, but I do allow for the fact that that could happen.
I think we forget, too, that in 2021, Mac Jones as a rookie was a 10-win quarterback, Pro Bowl alternate quarterback. I'm not giving a lot of credence away to a Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl alternate. All right.
Yes. No, and I'm not giving a lot of weight, but he was executing and winning games with Josh McDaniels. Mac Jones, who came in more pro-ready to execute, but a much lower ceiling than Drake May. If he can make it work with Mac Jones, who we saw eventually, zero composure, like he's still a backup. Wherever he's ending up, he's a backup. It's not like he was a starting caliber quarterback that just didn't work out here. He's a backup, and he's hopping around the league for a reason. A guy that wasn't a leader. A guy that wasn't that well revered in the locker room, despite being the quarterback and being seen as that leader on the team, on the field, as we perceived. Drake May, how many times last year could he have come out and ripped on the offensive line, blamed the receiving? It was always him. He was taking the blame. He would take the fall for his guys. Worst offensive line, worst wide receiving room in the league, worst offense in the league. He stood up for his guys. It's a dude that he has it on the field, the composure, the poise he shows in the locker room, behind the scenes, and the work ethic that he's showing as well. And that's where I believe in a Drake May, and that's again why I believe in a Josh McDaniels. To answer your question on the fall guy, though, I think that's a great scenario put in. The fall guy, if the offense doesn't work out, we're going to hear some language of, well, we need to improve the offensive line. Wasn't what we needed. We need that playmaker. The fall guy is Elliott Wolf. Josh McDaniels stays. Thomas Brown stays.
Yep.
Drake May and Mike Vrabel stay. Elliott Wolf is gone if this offense and this team doesn't take a step forward.
Elliott Wolf is probably gone anyway because the power is going to be consolidated in the Vrabel side of the building. Yes, you're totally right about that. That will be the thing they will blame. If Drake May doesn't look good, there definitely will be blame, directed towards the offensive coordinator because of that thing. And that's where we get to the rats, right? Vrabel's side of the building versus the folks who have already been here before or are holdovers or were, and we use the air quotes, which are really effective on the radio, forced on Mike Vrabel. If this thing, and this is the way it always works in football, it's the way it works anywhere. If things don't go well, it's about covering your own ass. Hey, well, this would have been better if you let me hire my own offensive coordinator. This would have been better if we didn't have Elliott Wolf in the room arguing with Ryan Cowden and Stretch. No, we need more power here. Get him out. Like that type of thing. You're right about that. That does exist with this team.
That's what I laugh at too, where Mike Vrabel adamantly frustrated, pissed off, rat comments, and then comes out later. It's like, it was nothing by it. It's already that little blame game. Where it's, again, if you're the head coach of the team, and someone like Mike Vrabel is no BS, all business too, no distractions. And it's a Mike Vrabel thing of no distractions. I'm not saying it because the previous head coach two head coaches ago always preached that. And you lose it, at the podium, unprompted, just asked about, hey, is it true Jalen Polk? Instead of saying, well, I'm going to move on from that, but yeah. You start going on about rats. You lose it at the podium in front of the entire media. You know what Boston's like. You were here as a player. You know the landscape. You know better than to get emotional at the podium. That shows how pissed off he was about that. That's not going anywhere.
It was tactical, I think.
Planted a seed.
Vrabel, to your point, he knows how things go around here. Vrabel's a smart guy. He's a savvy guy. I actually don't think that piece of information came from somebody in the building. My guess is it came from the agent. It makes the most sense for the agent to have it out there. The agent is the person who benefits the most because the agent represents the player. It benefits Jalen Polk to have that news out there. Hey, I'm done for the year, right? So, I'm not going to get cut type of thing. Like, that's good for Jalen Polk. I suppose you could say it also benefits Elliott Wolf in the sense that he's still trying to defend that pick and see this guy's hurt. But I actually think that came from the agent.
I think it came from Elliott Wolf for the reason of, hey, this guy's not going to play because he's injured. Get it out now. And then that's why he gets emotional about the Rats, because the agents are always going to be there. Why would he be that pissed off about an agent reporting it?
So he used it as an opportunity because he knows he has people in his building who he did not bring in, people in the building who might be rats, might be whatever that thing is. On the other side, he has other factions he has to deal with. That was a power play, and it was a shot because he knew we were going to talk about it. So what's been the discussion for the last week? Elliott Wolf's a rat. Josh McDaniels is a rat because he knows where we're going to go with it. Either way, whether it's your scenario, whether it's my scenario, you know what the truth is? There are people in the building who are not Mike Vrabel people. And that's going to come to a head eventually. And it comes to a head if you struggle. That's where it will be an issue.
Look at that 2024 draft class. And you go to the 2023 draft class too. But when Elliott Wolf's been in the building, the lack of guys still on the roster, making second contracts, and how 2024 is an utter failure. Layden Robinson was honestly one of your best run-blocking offensive linemen. 4th-round pick out of Oklahoma, was a project and pass pro. People that knew that. And he would be played, he would be benched, played, benched, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, all right, that's a guy that can offer something. He'll take a next-year leap. He's gone already. Sidiso's gone already. Like, all those guys, that draft class, Javon Baker's with the Eagles, and that's fine. He was a late-round pick. Jalen Polk, where he was taken in front of a lot of NFL talent, not just Ladd McConkey, where the trade back, taken in front of a lot of NFL talent, and he's injured. That news gets out. That was to protect Elliott Wolf and Jalen Polk.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you'd heard, George, but Jalen Polk's performance last year was all on the wide receivers coach. I don't know if you heard that. He wanted you to know. We thought he would be developed a little bit more. Okay, all right. Cover your ass. It's the way it works in the NFL. The NFL is the CYA league like you wouldn't believe. 617-779-0985. It's Matt McCarthy and George Balekji on the Sports Hub. There were reasons why they lost the game. Greg Weissert sucked. Jordan Hicks is an arsonist. I think Alex Cora got it wrong, sending Tolli out there for the 6th inning. We talked about all of that. There was plenty to get into from that game. But in the end, overall, great night to be a Red Sox fan. Great night at the ballpark. Gives you excitement for his next start, whenever that ultimately may be. I don't know if that'll be Wednesday against Cleveland or maybe in Arizona. I'd have to look at the schedule and see how that all breaks down. But it's a good night at the ballpark last night. Not to mention, too, Roman Anthony taking Paul Skeens deep. That was theater. That was a baseball game for a baseball fan. I loved it, man. It was awesome. Awesome stuff.
What I loved is, and you hear from Payton Tolli, like, reflecting on his journey, what the standing ovation meant to him was like all his hard work in that moment paying off. There was such bliss with him on the mound in his post-game press conference. And you see that moment when he's walking off. Everyone in that ballpark, and you can attest, you were literally there, but it resonated through the TV screen. They understood what they just witnessed. How good he was on the mound, the expectations behind him, what he's supposed to be, and what he did. And how tight that game was, how tense it was, and how he performed. What Payton Tolli put on, I hope he works out, not just because I love the person that he seems to be as a player, not just because it's something the Red Sox need. They need an ace and a prospect to come up and down the road how he could benefit. Payton Tolli's important for baseball. If he keeps coming out hurling like that, 98, 97, command there, dominating pitchers, the mustache, the build, the smile, the fun he's having. Payton Tolli is more important to baseball than Paul Skeens. He has a personality. He's someone you can market. Do you know Paul Skeens' voice? You probably do because you know who the leadoff hitter is for the Pirates. The general person out there does not. Paul Skeens is the most dynamic pitcher in baseball right now. Payton Tolli can be a bona fide ace. He can be a shutdown lineup type pitcher. But he also has that personality. It's just what baseball's lacking. They didn't get it with Mike Trout.
Okay.
They're not getting it with Paul Skeens. You need that player to help put the sport in the forefront because of what we live in now in 2025. You have to have a personality, and it's not doing the podcasting and all that. It's something where there is the virality of the clips, what you do, and showing a personality out there. Payton Tolli is really important for the game of baseball.
I think that takes about 10 years old, to be totally honest. The whole, baseball isn't marketing its stars thing, baseball stars don't have enough personality thing was, I think, a really valid conversation 7 years ago, 10 years ago.
But
when baseball.
What does Skeens do now?
Okay, I'll tell you, there were people there to watch Paul Skeens pitch last night.
Yes.
And you know what? Paul Skeens is dating, married to Livy Dunn, who, trust me, everybody was talking about last night. Paul Skeens has the it factor. You know what the problem is? Paul Skeens plays for a team that sucks and blows, and baseball needs to intervene and get him out of there. He doesn't need to be the world's biggest personality.
But he has no personality. He has none.
Okay, how do you know that? Because he plays in Pittsburgh.
Because when you watch him on the clips, listen to when he's on Part of My Take. The interview's there. It's just a boring conversation.
Okay, were people interested in the Paul Skeens thing last night?
Yes, they were. He's a dominant pitcher.
Yes.
But it's, again, okay, the baseball fans. It's beyond that. What's the majority of sports fans? The casuals. And if you have someone with a personality that breaks through to the casuals. You get what I'm saying?
So why then is baseball having its best ratings in 7 years across the board? Locally, nationally, highest attendance, highest TV ratings, highest engagement with baseball on social media. How is that possibly happening? Because if Paul Skeens doesn't have the personality that you want.
The highest there, but how is it competing with the NBA and NFL?
Well, I mean, baseball World Series did a hell of a lot better ratings than the NBA in the finals. So, again, this take is about 7 years old.
But it's how big the names are. I'm talking from a personal individual. People that are fans of teams are going away. It's these kids, and I get it. It's players that they follow because they don't need to have that TV package to watch him. They go on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok and watch him, right?
Baseball is crushing it on social media.
No, and they are, but they're still behind the NBA and NFL. You need a player like a Payton Tolli to work because that is a pitcher that kids are going to start following, and that's what I'm saying. I understand the old argument. I agree because I watch the sport anyway.
Yep.
I don't need Paul Skeens to do well in an interview or have a personality to watch. I loved watching him dominate on the mound. I don't care what these guys do in an interview chair. But I'm saying for propping up the sport and being the face of the sport, that's where Payton Tolli is important.
Okay, so Payton Tolli is not going to be the face of the sport. What Payton Tolli might be, you hope, is a frontline pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, and you need the Red Sox to be at the forefront of the sport so people know who he is. The problem with Paul Skeens is he plays for the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are awful, who are terrible. This argument would hold up a lot better 7 years ago when the sport was in a dire place. People were not engaging with it. They weren't watching the games. That's not the case right now. Like, it is undeniable. Look at the numbers. People are coming back to the sport in droves. Baseball's ratings are up. If you go across the board, the NBA's ratings are down. Baseball ratings are up.
Yeah. The NBA dealt with the ratings battle all season long, right? It's too long. It's not competitive in the regular season. And it was with the Celtics running away within the regular season, people tuning out. You have the OKC matchup, of course, like the NBA Finals, Indiana OKC, not what they want. So, and the baseball is up, but it's again for the sport to be relevant and for the superstars to be the biggest names. Because when it's the household names.
Paul Skeens is a household name.
It's the quarterbacks, it's the NBA players, and then it's the baseball players. They need to be in that conversation.
Okay,
you are a diehard baseball fan.
Yes,
you love baseball,
and I'm the first to admit when it has a problem. You're late on this.
You have to detach yourself from where you are.
You're late on it, man.
As a fan,
you're late on it.
I'm not saying I'm the first to say it.
On it.
No, I mean I know it's the same old conversation.
Yeah, right.
But I'm saying it of what Payton Tolli can be with his personality, and he could be an ace on one of the best teams in baseball. Paul Skeens, in spite of. Payton Tolli would be because of he's with the Red Sox. Mm-hmm. Now, if Skeens lands with a team that could get into the playoffs, like let's start there, let alone like a contender.
Paul Skeens
that would do so much for him.
You're talking about something completely different.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani, think about it.
What's Aaron Judge's personality? You don't really know much about him.
Everybody knows Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Everybody
because of where he is.
Right. That matters.
Yeah.
It does.
Even the Mookie Betts clips of him with this podcast he started, it's always like nothing.
Okay.
But it's Mookie Betts with the Dodgers. No, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Shohei Ohtani with the Angels is different than Shohei Ohtani with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
This
is where
matters.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
So you get him on the real team. But I'm just saying for that next step, like you want Paul Skeens to be that superstar, that face of the league. And he is right now. He's the most dominant. He's the best pitcher in baseball, not Tarek Skubal, not Garrett Crochet, and he can get there, right? It's that the personality you need to follow. And I'm going outside of the sports of the viewership. It's literally being the relevant.
Who do you want him to be?
For him in baseball right now?
Like you're saying Skeens doesn't have the it thing. So what would make him the it thing? Because I'll tell you, the buzz of a Paul Skeens start at Fenway Park last night was legit. I don't know, like I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around like what this guy is missing.
Yeah.
He's got the world's hottest girlfriend, and he's the best pitcher in baseball, and people went there to watch him pitch last night. People were talking about the Skeens start. We've been talking about the Skeens start here for 2 weeks, trying to map it out to see if he was going to pitch here. Like 7 years ago, we might not have been doing that because the sport was in a bad place. I think
it's the beyond the highlights, and that's what it's become with sports now. If you're going to be that guy in the league, and I'm not saying he has to be to succeed as a pitcher, and he's a failure as a superstar if he's not. It's that people go to the ballpark, and then all right, you're going to pitch once every 5 days. Mm-hmm. Between those 5 days, in the interviews, in the press conferences, speaking to the media, it's that type of personality, and that's what I'm saying.
You want Stephen A. Smith to be talking about him every day. No, but that's kind of what you're saying, right?
Yes. Sorry, don't say Stephen A. Smith, but yes, the daily shows, yes.
Okay, all right.
And
are we talking about Shohei Ohtani in that sense every day?
No.
Right. So here,
that's an issue with that network in baseball.
Right. So your issue is with the ESPNification of sports. It's not with baseball. It's not with any of the sports. It's with the ESPNification of it.
It's where those guys it's not even the ESPNification. It's everyone controls like where they are now. Like all these athletes have their podcasts. Mm-hmm. All these athletes do their own thing. They don't need the networks anymore. It's that what Payton Tolli, I just see with his personality, what he could become. And I'm thinking more of like a Boston type bubble for him, but then it can go as the Red Sox are successful and he's a frontline starting pitcher and they're contending for a World Series where he can become nationally, his personality, what it could propel him to. And that can push baseball more. That's what I'm saying is important. I'm not saying baseball is failing. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying Paul Skeens
actually thriving right now.
Needs to have like these fiery press conferences for him to be a bigger household name. It's just, it can be more. And that's where I think Payton Tolli, again, the glimpse of him as a starting pitcher. And dude, it's that mustache. It's his smile. It's him talking.
Great. It's awesome.
Kyle, can you run the bite Payton Tolli talking about he couldn't feel his feet after the game? If you could run that, putting you on the spot, Kyle.
Give him a second.
It's when
this
I
guy's
see
done
that.
like 3 shows here. He's cracking the whip with Kyle back there. It's unbelievable.
Kyle, you got it? Run that.
What was that like tonight?
My goodness. Yeah, chills. A lot of chills. I tried to get up there a little early to take it in, just everything that I could. But it was, it was incredible. I came off the mound after the first, and I couldn't feel my feet. it was just greatest experience of my life, and it was the greatest atmosphere in baseball. So I was very, I was just proud of it, and but it was. I'll look back on this day for a long time, just thinking about this moment. So
he won the lottery last night, and that's the energy he's feeling, and that is the excitement he has in that answer. Where that's someone that understands how lucky he is to be in that situation, worked really hard, earned his way from Wichita State to TCU, was a Big 12 pitcher of the year, did all this, busted his ass through the system to get to that point. It's just that relatability in the press conference. That's what I think is important on what Payton Tolli can be. If he keeps that youthfulness, and look, he's going to become a vet if he pans out, and he will have a barrier between him and the media, and we won't get as much, but that is someone that you watch and you just like smile. And it's something where you connect with them on a personal level. And I think the storyline and the personality of him is important on top of the ability. And that's not something you get with Skeens. Now, if Tolli is Skeens, oh my God.
He's not Skeens.
But
let's pump the brakes here. Paul Skeens is historically good at this stage in his career.
But it's his personality, and that draws people that are non-Red Sox fans to start connecting with Payton Tolli.
You're overrating the personality part of it.
I don't think so. You don't get it that much in baseball.
I
get the ratings.
That's
I understand it.
An old take.
But this is a guy that can be a frontline starter and have that to him. Where, like, I love Chris Sale when he was here. The press conference you get, the cursing, the vulnerability, him being candid, him being him when he was healthy.
Did that save baseball? Was that good for baseball? Chris Sale had all those things, right? Chris Sale was also doing that at the lowest moment in the sport's history, and it didn't land on a national
what
stage.
What saved baseball is them stopping with the war on Twitter and allowing their highlights to be out there.
Yeah, and the pitch clock.
Them stopping, yes. 1,000%. The pitch clock, speeding up the game, that saved it too. And it's also them stopping with the war on YouTube and like thinking that there has to be you tune it in and them embracing what the internet is now. But that's what the NBA and NFL has been doing. So it's on the league to embrace it and adapt, and they have. But you also need the superstars to carry. You need the superstars with personality beyond the highlights. Again, it's the non-baseball diehards. You love baseball, you're a diehard. You like baseball so much more than I ever will.
No, it's obvious about
but
that.
I love
I just don't think you like baseball.
And I'll still tune into baseball. But it's getting those guys outside of the Red Sox to tune in for. I'll tune in for the superstars, the Skeens. Yep. I was going to watch that game last night no matter what. Obviously, Payton Tolli again to start heighten my antenna. Then it's doing that where you branch out and you break through that barrier of like that city.
So let's sum up the take. As you said, Payton Tolli more important to baseball than Paul Skeens.
Yes.
All right. On that note, we'll end the program because that's wild, man.
Is that 7 years old?
I respect it. I don't think it's anywhere near accurate, but I respect the take and I respect the conviction nonetheless. Speaking of respect, we here at the Sports Hub are so fortunate to have truly the best producers in the business. This station has been extraordinarily successful, and the reason that this station is so successful, if you're asking me, all right, I've been here 12 years, what am I really to say about it? But our producers are absolutely top-notch and are the best, and they don't get enough credit for the success that this station has had over the course of 16 years. Kyle Fabrizio, who is one of, no doubt, our best producers, is stepping away from his role here. Can I do this? Is this okay, Kyle? All right. I don't think this is goodbye for him.
Okay.
Because I do think he's going to be back, and I do think he's going to be doing some stuff. Kyle, trust me, I've worked with many producers here over the years, 12 years. You, no doubt, are one of the best, one of the most talented. Anytime I see the name Fabrizio on a show, I say, I've got a good producer, and trust me, as a host, nothing makes you feel more comfortable and confident and good going into a show is knowing you have Kyle Fabrizio behind the board. This is not goodbye, but this is we will miss you, and we will not see you as much as we normally do, and I really hope we still see a hell of a lot of you. So this is like his fake final show, but we'll see. He's the man. George, I know you've done a few shows. Trust me when I say
it's my first one with him. He's nails.
This dude is the best.
Let me
one
say,
of the best.
I had no idea about this, so I would have been a lot less bossy calling up for that Tolli bite.
Oh, no. Be bossy. Like, that's what he's here. Again, he's here to be our whipping boy.
I think you hit the nail on the head, though. Like, everything we do on the mic, everything I do on camera, you can't do it without a team behind you. And great producers make all the magic happen. Fabrizio, I'm so happy and honored I got to do a show with you, man. You were awesome. So
the man,
love
the
this
myth,
for you, bro.
The legend. Speaking of guys like that, we got Leroy and Cerrone coming up,
Oh.
which is one of my favorite shows on the station. Love these guys. You'll enjoy it. George, I thoroughly enjoyed working with you today, my man.
Even after that last take, I broke out.
Even after the last take? You had a bad take. So what?
Whoa. There's no bad takes. There's no such thing as bad takes.
Generally, I agree with that. That might have been a bad take.
We'll revisit that in 5 years.
We will.
Reunite.
I had fun, man.
My man.
You're on tomorrow?
Great being with you. Yes, I'm on tomorrow with Dundero, 10 to 2.
Fair warning about that. I'll see you guys. I'm on at 2 to 5 after you. See ya.